Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. And this is our 2026 Technology Showcase, brought to you by Reframe. I'm Carlos Garcia, and joining me today is Hector Garcia,
Hi, everybody.
co-founder and co-host of today's event. We're excited to share with you a lot of the upcoming technology updates from some of our experienced partners slash sponsors that participated in our Reframe event of 2025. We also have a lot of exciting information to share with you about Reframe 2026, as well as what is Reframe and how to become part of the Reframe Society. But more importantly, the conversation today and the information that we'll be sharing with you today is predominantly all about how you can leverage technology in 2026 in your accounting firm, in your practice, so that you can elevate your client's experience, you can automate and make your business work smoother and more seamless with our trusted partners. So let's talk a little bit about what we will do today. This is a 2-day event, and for day one, which is today, we're gonna jump right in it. Basically, there will be CPEs issued to everyone who attends. Hector, is there anything about CPE you want to talk about, or we want to skip that part for now?
We'll talk about CP in a second. There's a slide for that.
Right. So our partners for today are RightTool, Ramp, TaxDome, Wurthy, ADP, MakersHub, and Double. And they're going to do short 15 to 20-minute demos, depending on a few of them. Might do them a little bit shorter. We are going to be running really tight on time. So be sure to tune in for all of it. And if you want more information, the partners themselves will give you the information so that you can reach out to learn more about their software and their solution, or vice versa. They'll be able to collect your information and reach out to you so you can learn more about that. Um, what else? Day two is we're going to have Fishbowl, Anchor, Flash Reports, Karbon, OnPay, and Basil. And then we'll also have some special mentions to some of our other experienced partners who were part of Reframe. And then we'll give you a little bit of information. So Reframe is an organization that couldn't have been done without the help of Vanessa Vasquez, who is, we consider, our partner in organizing this experience for everybody. She's also the mastermind behind the show running and the experience management that helped Reframe be such a massive success in the last 3 years. So we want to also give her an honorable mention for helping us build it to what it is today. And last year's theme was pricing with confidence. And for 2026, our theme will be what's called innovative advisory. In short, what that means is we want to try to flip the AI narrative. If you really think about it, IA, innovative advisory, is AI backwards. And so we wanted to be intentional about that. And so we got way more information to share with you throughout the year as to what that looks like. We don't have any speakers yet. We don't have a venue yet, but we will announce a venue this month and hopefully before the next couple of weeks. So we're very close, but no guarantees. But for sure, by the end of this month, we'll have a venue and a date locked in for you. If you want to secure your spot, we will go ahead and put the link in the chat so that you can learn more about how to become part of Reframe. FYI, we already have 160 deposits, and we don't know at what point we're going to cap it, but it's going to be pretty close to the 175 mark, so you don't want to miss it. Now, Reframe Society is how to be connected with Reframe beyond just the one-time annual event, beyond the conference. This is how to stay connected online. We have 3 different tiers that we offer. We have a leadership program if you want to be fully immersed and fully held accountable and transform yourself and lead yourself into success. That's the 15,000 a year program. But we also have as little as $500 investment per year, where we have over 100 hours of recorded content around pricing, mindset, strategy, branding, marketing, communication, leadership, business models, etc. And the master program is our most common one, is where you can access the pre-recorded content, but also participate in our monthly masterminds. And so we'll also share some information in the chat so you can learn more about that. And again, as we mentioned in the beginning, this is a 2-day quick event where we're going to have our partners give you 10 to 15 minutes of their demo. And this will be recorded and will be posted in Hector's YouTube a lot later. CPE will be available for live attendees only, and you must answer all the polling questions, which Hector will be posting at any point, which means that you got to be part of the entire event for you to receive your 2-hour CPE per day. No wrong answers on the polling questions. They are just an opt-in system to get more information on the specific topic above. So want to thank some of our main partners. We've got our headline partner, which was RightTool, our gold partners, Fishbowl and Ramp, our silver partners, Anchor, Finatical Software, TaxDome, Double, MakersHub, Wurthy, OnPay, Karbon, ADP, and Basil, and our bronze partners were Noify, Avalara, Merrill Lynch, and Mercury. So that being said, Hector, turning it to you, I think we are on time for us to get started.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to start by running the first polling question. I'm not supposed to, the way CPEs work, I'm not supposed to say out loud when the polling questions are up, but I'll start by telling you so you know exactly where to look. Look at your screen, look at your Zoom. If you're attending live, you can see your polling question. There's no right or wrong answer. We just need that to be able to give you your CPE certificate. So I'm going to start by thanking RightTool for being a headline sponsor. This is an interesting one because I happen to be a shareholder of both RightTool and Reframe. So RightTool being our headline sponsor is the first demo that we're going to have for today. If you look in the master slides, the link for RightTool is righttool.app. And if you want to contact a direct contact at RightTool at the moment, the person that's doing the demo happens to be also myself. It's the only demo I will be doing to the next 2 days. My email is hector@righttoolpro.com if you have any questions or want to schedule a personalized demo for your firm, etc. So let's get started with RightTool. So let's start with the fact that, let me X out of this for a second. Okay, so RightTool is an app that you add to QuickBooks Online. And the idea behind the app, so I actually have a QuickBooks Online open. I'm going to go to the homepage. The idea behind the app is that it supports you. It helps you work alongside of QuickBooks. So whichever capacity you use QuickBooks, if you're a small business owner, if you're an accountant, it will help you work alongside of it. So what exactly does that mean? That means that if you want to boost your productivity, you add this, what we're calling a Chrome extension. Now, the Chrome extension enables itself here on the right-hand side. You see this little bar open and close as I click on the little button. The Chrome extension only works in what's called a Chromium-based browser. A Chromium-based browser is Google Chrome. It's also Microsoft Edge. It's also Brave. And there's other Chromium-based browsers. Safari is not a Chromium-based browser, so it doesn't work in Safari. Firefox is not a Chromium-based browser, so it doesn't work on Firefox. So if you're using any of those two browsers, it's just not going to work. Also, if you're using QuickBooks' own app that they developed to browse and work with QuickBooks, it wouldn't work with that either. So again, you're using Google Chrome, you're using a Microsoft Edge, you're using any Chromium-based browser, you'll be able to enable RightTool. Now, from the people that are watching live, a big chunk of you already use RightTool. A big chunk of you have never used it before. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disable it. I'm going to walk you through how to install it, how to like sort of get on it from scratch. So right now, this is a Chrome extension and it is enabled. So I'm actually going to click on this little button here, the extensions button, and I can simply turn this off. I can even delete it. I can click on remove for Chrome and I completely remove it. So when I go ahead and refresh my QuickBooks, that extension will completely go away. So I'm showing you essentially how to get started with RightTool from scratch. Now, you're going to go to righttool.app. That's the same link that we have in the slides. Hold on, let me click through it directly just in case I'm mistype something there. And then in the link, there should be a link that says RightTool app /free. And that sends you to what's called the Chrome Web Store. And again, this will work on Microsoft Edge. It doesn't have to be Google Chrome. And then you'll see a button here that says Add to Chrome. So that's how you enable the app. Now, RightTool has two versions of it. It has the free version and it has the Pro edition. Right now, because I deleted it and I'm essentially refreshing and it just got loaded, essentially what I have access to is the free version. So the free version here, it says free here on the right. There's a lot of features that are built into the free version. Notice we didn't ask you for a username or password. There is a way of creating an account and be able to customize the software and all that stuff. But there is a free version that just works off the bat. Now, the stuff that jumps at you immediately, again, you can work on it, collapse, and just work on QuickBooks with RightTool collapse and then just enable RightTool whatever you want. But what most people like is the fixed favorite panel. So we give you 10 favorites. And we chose, actually, I was part of the committee that decided which are the 10 favors that we give you up front: bank feed, bank register, balance sheet, profit and loss, journal entry, account and home, reconcile, chart of accounts, item list, and reconcile transactions. I believe that most accounting professionals, these are the 10 things that they access the most. However, there might be other things that you access most that is not this. I would love, in the live chat, what are the areas of QuickBooks that you use the most, or maybe if you're already a RightTool user, what kind of favorites do you see in there, so I can kind of like speak to that. But here under all shortcuts, if you click on there, we give you a database of every single thing that QuickBooks has, every single direct access that QuickBooks has. So for example, somebody commented that they go to the vendor screen quite a bit, or they go to mileage quite a bit. So you can actually click on this little star here, and you can make now that one of your favorites. Okay. And for example, somebody said they go to the customer screen really quick. So we'll go here into our customers screen, or maybe our invoice center, whichever one works for you. Click on the little star. So when you use that feature, and we'll go back here to favorites, and you add the star, now it gets added to your favorites. Now that's beyond the first 10. So now this is where you really truly start customizing. So you say, you know what? Vendors is something I access quite a bit, or maybe during tax season, during 1099 season, I access it quite a bit. And then I want to change it a little bit later on. That's completely customizable. I can click and drag this and push it all the way to the top. Okay. And I can go customers, click and drag all the way to the top, and I change the order. So now I have a total customized order on what my top 10 favorites are. And again, if I scroll up and down, I can see all of my favorites. Now, those 1 through 10 actually have a very, very specific reason why there's those numbers there. If you actually hit on your keyboard, Control, Alt, and the number, or Control Command on a Mac, and you click on that number, it takes you straight into that. So if I want to go into customers, I do Control Command 2. That goes to customers. I'm not touching the mouse. Okay, I kind of have to show you the keyboard like this. So again, I do Control Command 4. That will take me into bank register. 5, it will take me into balance sheet. 6, it will take me into profit and loss. So if you're a keyboard savvy person and you like those keyboard shortcuts, or maybe you used to use a lot of QuickBooks Desktop and you miss, how many different shortcuts you had in QuickBooks Desktop, this could be a way that we can give you at least from 1 to 10 custom shortcuts of the 10 things that you access the most. Best thing, this is all available in the free version, so you don't have to have the paid edition yet. Now there will be running ads in the free edition, so you might see rotating ads down there. That's kind of how we support the free edition. Once you get into the paid version, those ads go away, and then there's a whole bunch of new features that get added. So that, to me, that's probably the biggest, most valuable thing that we have added to RightTool from the very beginning, particularly because QuickBooks went through a interface change last year, and it frustrated a lot of people because, where they used to going into, whichever screen they go to the most, now they had to go through, search through new menus, in here on the left-hand side, and try to find the stuff that they used to accessing fairly quickly. What RightTool users were able to do is they didn't get a disruption or a major interruption because their top 10 favorites were still there. Now, the search bar here allows you to search within the entire database of built-in shortcuts that we have in there. So for example, if I want to see what are all the things inside QuickBooks that contain the word class, what are all the screens and all the reports that contain the word class? So I can just type class in there, and then we will give you a list of everything that has the word class, or it contains, like classic would be one of them too. Of course, that makes things a little more confusing, because the word class is contained in classic. But if I type class space, then I get rid of anything that's classic. But then I get to kind of see everything that's in here. So for example, I got sales by class summary, I got purchases by class details. I can simply click on these, boom, boom, on the little stars, and highlight those stars, and then go back into my favorites. And now these two areas are in there. So I can click on any of these, and it will take me into the class list, for example, in this particular file doesn't have classes, but if I had classes, you will see them in there. It's kind of the example, right? So you get direct access to the reports or the areas in QuickBooks that has that. And again, this works across all versions of QuickBooks Online. It doesn't matter whether you have Essential, Simple Start. As a matter of fact, even if you had the Ledger edition, or if you had the IES Intuit Enterprise Suite, it works with all those. So it's actually pretty great. It works across everything that's in the QuickBooks world. Now, so that's free edition. Now, one thing I recommend strongly after you install the free edition, I want you to click on this little settings button. Okay, not the gear, but the wrench and the screwdriver, which will take you to the RightTool settings, and then you can go through all the different features that RightTool has. This line here that you see, separating classic reports and Accountant Pro, is the difference between the features that are available in the free edition. So everything that's above the line, they're all available in the free edition. And anything that's beyond the line, it's available in both the free and the pro edition. So if you click on every one of these, you can see all the things that you can turn off and turn on that enhance the experience inside QuickBooks. And what's really cool about this is the experience is totally customizable. So some people might not want to see managed tabs, or some people may not want to see transaction journal opens in a new tab, or some people may not want to see reports enhanced drill down. So each of these features are things that everybody can turn off and on demand, totally customizable experience. And if you work in a firm and you have the paid edition, you can actually control what the firm users have access to. You can actually, in the admin panel, you can say this user is part of the bookkeeper group, and the bookkeepers only have access to these features. And again, these are RightTool features, not QuickBooks features, but that you get the idea. So it's really good for you to go through these to kind of get an idea for what all the features do. And what's really neat is you click on this little eye icon next to each of the features, because it is overwhelming. We have over 120 features in RightTool. You have a little bit of explanation of what the feature is, and then you have a 2 to 3 minute tutorial of explaining just the purpose of that one feature. So then you can decide whether or not you want to turn on that feature. Okay. So that's actually really neat about this. And you can also search. So if I want to search anything that has to do with, like, let's say the register or something like that, I type the word register, press enter, and then you get to see all the features that affect the register or are located in the register or have some sort of changing of the interface in QuickBooks in the register. And again, right now I'm on the free edition. So all of these pro features are disabled at the moment. Okay. And then once you subscribe and become a pro user, so I'll show you that process. So I'm actually going to click here where it says login. Okay. And then once I click on login, it will take me to my login. And then to create an account, if you haven't created an account, you click here where it says sign up here. And then you choose which version do you want, right? We have the Pro Plus, which has access to all the pro features. And we have Pro Lite, which has access to any of the pro features, just kind of one at a time. So for those smaller firms that feel $75 a month is too much to pay for an app, you can get started with Pro Lite. But once you get into a multi-tier, multi-user firm, you definitely want to go to Pro Plus, because you can add the additional users for only $25 per user. So $75 for the first seat, and then that. So to get started, you do a free trial. You create the account in here. And then once you create the account, and I'm kind of just trying to go backwards for a second and log in, you log in once. You're a pro user, you're logged in, and then you go back into QuickBooks, you just refresh. And then RightTool is smart enough to know that if you logged in at least once to your pro portal, you are now converted into the pro edition. Okay. So now that I'm in the pro edition, I want to showcase one of my favorite features inside of the pro edition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the settings button one more time, and then I'm going to go into Batch Pro. Okay. And I'm just going to refresh this screen here so it knows that I'm in the pro edition. And then I'm going to look at all the features that are available in the batch on the register. I'm actually going to enable all of them because I kind of like all the register features, and during tax season, that's kind of like the feature that gets the most play. I'm also going to go into batch, and I want to make sure that all the batching tools are turned on as well. Like that way, I have basically all the batching tools, and I'm going to go into the register and show you all the amazing features that you get to have access to as a pro user. Again, yes, trying to sell you a pro subscription, but also at the same time, we'd love to, for you to start with kind of like the free edition and go from there. Now I'm gonna switch out of this. I'm gonna log into a file that has live data, because that was a blank QuickBooks file, and I'm gonna answer some of the questions that are being asked live here. So give me 1 second while I kind of like log in with a different user. And one of the questions here that I have is, does this work with QuickBooks Online Essentials or Plus? I don't have Advanced. So I'm not sure if I misspoke or anything, whether you're in QuickBooks Online Advanced or Essentials or Plus, it doesn't matter. It works across all versions of QuickBooks. Okay, another question that I see here is that fee per client? Or, okay, so yes, there's no such thing as per client fees. As a matter of fact, in RightTool, we don't connect to any QuickBooks files per se. We just work live inside of the browser. So there's just no way, shape, or form that we can know how many clients you have or have access to any client data. So there's no such thing as a per client fee. This is a per user fee, per accountant, however you want to call it, okay? So that's what the subscription costs. Does it work with a new accounting platform in QBO? Kimberly, good question. It doesn't matter which version of QuickBooks you're in or whether it's a new platform or old platform. We have added features across the board. Yes, we are mostly developing for the new stuff. And so some of the old screens and old features and classic modes and that sort of thing, we will not get as much new innovation from us anyway. Another question is, are there discounts for nonprofits? So yes, we have a special nonprofit discount. Make sure you email me directly so I can give you that coupon code, and make sure the organization is a .org on the domain name for the nonprofit discount. Helen asks, does RightTool work on my little 14-inch screen? Yes, it would. You may want to make sure you play with the zoom settings. So Control plus, Control minus, Command plus, Command minus on your keyboard. You might have to kind of play with that, because obviously the smaller the screen, the smaller the resolution, then a bit more challenging that you have, to take that real estate there on the right-hand side. Okay, so I think I answered all the questions here. There's one more question. Is there a certification available? So yes, there is a certification available. When you logged into the portal, there's a little button here that says certifications, okay? If you create a free account, you will have access only to the RightTool certified user certification, which you have to pass first. That certification has a video. It's basically a 2-hour video where we recently kind of walk you through every single step feature in there. And then once you watch the video, you take the test. The test is not timed, so it's sort of open book. Let's call it that. Okay, the idea is that you know the answer, not necessarily that we gotcha on them. And then once you pass the RightTool certification, we're going to enable the certified expert, which is going to be released mid-January. We're going to release the exam for that. But you have to kind of pass the first one to be able to go to the second one. Now, that second pro certification requires you to be a paid user, because we're adding a lot more features to that. One of them is going to be our directory. So our directory is going to be a public directory where every time you become certified, you will be in there. So if there's any end users that get the free edition of RightTool and they're looking for someone to help them and teach them on how to use RightTool, they're going to be able to find you there. Okay. So in the RightTool website, let me go to the RightTool website. I'm going to log out for a second just so you can see. There's a directory here. When you click on directory, they're going to be here. Now, the only ones that are going to show up in the directory are going to be the pro certified, that second level of certification. For now, we're just enabling it, so we have something to show. That's actually fairly new. This is our big initiative for 2026, is to complete a full certification process, and the certifications, the content at the very least. So if you go into YouTube and you go into the RightTool, let me go here, RightTool channel, we actually have a video playlist for the certification. So you actually don't have to be logged into the portal specifically. There's actually the 3 videos are here available for you. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. So you can watch all of that. So anyway, that's it for the RightTool demo. Hopefully, we covered some of the most important things. I want to bring in our next app. I'm going to run a polling question really quick. And Carlos, can we make sure that Nigel from Ramp is
Yeah, Hector, I am here.
it up? Okay, awesome. Okay, let me I'll have the polling question up while we queue you up. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me just make sure. Okay, boom. Okay, no, we're good to go. So we're going to give you access to sharing your screen, Nigel, and then we can get right on to Ramp.
Awesome. That sounds great. I think I've got it going. Sweet. Can everyone see quick screen?
Yes.
We can see your
Ramp
screen
on top. Awesome. And I can't enable my video at current moment, but I can get things started and see if I can turn that on later if people would like. But let's get things kicked off though in the short amount of time we have. I'm super excited to get to showcase and walk through all, or here we go, get my video started so you can all see my face. But pleasure to meet you all. My name's Nigel. I'm a partner consultant or solutions consultant at Ramp, and I am super excited to get to walk through a few parts of the product today in the short amount of time we have to help showcase to you all the value that Ramp can bring, not only to you as CPAs, but also to some of the clients that you may serve as well. But before we dive in, let's set the scene and look at kind of the landscape that we're all in and trends that we're seeing. So in this new age of the economic conditions that we're in, as well as the new generational technology that is coming out, we're seeing some significant shifts in finance departments, whether it's through optimizing spend, trying to have unified and consolidated tech stacks, to, of course, automation and AI being thrown around every which way and trying to be leveraged in actual productive, valuable workflows. We're seeing this become more and more of a focus for finance teams. And this is certainly a great way that Ramp helps to fit into this picture. But more importantly, too, it's also shaping the way that either outsourced accounting or CPAs are serving their clients, because the old workflows of coding transactions such aren't really providing the value that they're looking for anymore. And we're seeing these types of individuals shift their time and attention and value to advisory services, helping to increase the actual value and services that they provide to their clients through being able to leverage more of this advanced technology to take care of the mundane tasks. And that is exactly where Ramp comes into the picture. Ramp is the cutting edge finance platform for modern businesses, where we're built from two cornerstones that every part of our product basically comes from. And that is the two cornerstones of saving time and saving money. So whether it's time savings through automating workflows, through agentic capabilities, to being able to take on workflows that previously were done by users in the system, we're having Ramp take on a lot of that to give time back to our customers and our partners. On top of saving money, whether it's better policy enforcement to catch out of policy spend, to actually providing savings insights to see where you may actually be overspending on subscriptions and pointing out those cost savings opportunities to you, to even restricting where employees can spend to specific categories or specific types of vendors. All these different tools in Ramp help companies save an average of 5% every year on their expenses just by using this platform. But what can Ramp offer? Well, right, we want to be that one-stop shop and all-in-one suite of spend management tools that helps to provide everything outside of payroll for a company. So whether it's their corporate credit cards and expense management, to their entire procure to pay workflow, to their travel bookings, as well as even treasury tool, helping to do some advanced cash management, all hosted within one unified and easy to utilize platform. That's really some of the core value that Ramp helps to provide to, and it plugs in the saving time and saving money into all of these different tools that we have to offer. And of course, with this being the age of AI, automation is everywhere right now, and it is only going to be increasing in finance. Of course, we're familiar maybe with rule-based or robotic automation that we can instill into some workflows, But now with AI or agentic automation, we're seeing this new era of more contextualized, more advanced, and more adaptable automation be able to be plugged in to old workflows. So things like coding transactions for your clients is going to very quickly become a thing of the past, and something that actually products are going to be taking over instead. And Ramp is helping to lead the way in this new kind of transformation of finance automation. But there's a lot that we could dive into with the Ramp product and in only a short amount of time. So for today, let's focus in on the Ramp bill pay product and how that workflow looks in Ramp. And just to give some initial metrics too of the value that bill pay can provide with Ramp is through our different tools like fraud flagging. We've already just in a few months helped to flag over $4 million of fraudulent invoices that our customers typically were actually paying unknowingly in the past, but now Ramp is helping them to catch before money is getting out of their pockets. To helping with approval recommendations, the time commitment that it takes to review invoices and bills, take historical contextual information and try and understand whether this bill is relevant or not is now a thing of the past, where Ramp is issuing approval recommendations with a 95% acceptance rate to give that time back to our users. And of course, too, as well, utilizing Ramp cards also for paying bills can help companies get a lot of money in cash back. And we've seen in just a few short months, over $2 million in cash back coming back to our customers. But how is this all happening? Let's actually take a live look at what Ramp bill pay looks like. So coming into my screen really quickly, we can see the Ramp home screen. To give everyone a quick lay of the land, on the left-hand side, we have our navigation pane. So this is all of the different tools, features, and capabilities of Ramp. Whether it's bill pay, travel booking, managing expenses, all of it is easy to navigate between within Ramp. In the center, you can think of as kind of my to-do list. And on the right-hand side, I'm getting a quick snippet of the different spending situations I may have and some quick information, whether it's cards that I'm managing, purchase orders that I have, or even bills that are on my plate. I get a quick view into what I may want to take action on. But like I said, let's dive into Ramp bill pay specifically for today. Coming into Ramp bill pay, what we see first is we have a table that lists out all of the different bills that you're able to manage in Ramp. And this table is fully customizable. You're able to filter and change how these columns are ordered as well. At the top, we then see a couple different tabs. These tabs basically help to differentiate the different phases that a bill goes throughout its lifetime within Ramp. From drafts being the initial kind of creation of a bill, to history being bills that have already been paid or archived, and then everything in between, as well as an overview tab giving you a view of all bills that exist in Ramp. But let's start with how you actually would get bills into Ramp and what that process looks like. Well, whether it's through things like an AP email address you can automatically forward to, uploading invoices directly, importing them via Excel spreadsheet, or even creating bills without an invoice document, you can easily get bills into Ramp in either a touch-free way or simply by uploading on your computer. Once they come into Ramp, that's where they're scanned by our OCR tool with a level of AI embedded on top of it, of course, and then starts to fill in all of this information for you. With the end goal being the second an invoice comes into Ramp, every piece of information is automatically applied on behalf of our customers. So we can see here, I have the invoice document on the right-hand side. In the center, I then have my input form, right? This is all the information I'm extracting from that invoice, and I want to upload it into my accounting system or ERP. And on the left-hand side, I just have a quick navigation between other bills that I may want to be able to process. Looking at this Cisco bill that we have in front of us, we can see I've uploaded the invoice, and now Ramp has filled out all of this information for me on my behalf. So whether it's header level information like vendors, invoice numbers, dates, and descriptions, to even all of my line items, right? I can see I have 3 line items on this invoice. Ramp automatically breaks out every single line item for me, no manually creating these any longer. And then on top of that, Ramp's filling in even all of the line item information and even the accounting coding that's occurring. So whether it's just the line description and amount, but even leveraging our AP agent, right? Our AI agent that's built into Ramp that helps to automate the coding of these invoices, you can see is referenced by this kind of blue star, is automatically coding my invoices for me based on historical information, trends that it sees of how I'm coding bills, and even context from what the line item description is. But going even further than that, I can help to teach that Ramp AP agent exactly how I want things coded. So I can take certain accounting fields and add context for coding and highlight things on my bill. Like maybe it's my bill to address. Depending on this bill to address, I may want to code my invoice or one of my accounting fields a different way. And I can teach Ramp how to do that easily and automatically, giving Ramp even more information to code future invoices more accurately. So what we see from here, right, is all I had to do was have my invoice uploaded into Ramp, and every single piece of information you see on my screen was automatically filled in for me. Now I have the time back to maybe just quickly review, make sure everything looks right, and then be able to go ahead and process this invoice. With that, Ramp then also offers a wide variety of payment methods that you can leverage as well. So whether it's ACHs or physical checks by mail, both of which have $0 transaction fees with Ramp, are easy to leverage in our platform. There's also domestic and international wires that can be used, as well as being able to pay invoices with a Ramp card when accepted by vendors. And again, earning some of that cash back that you can have that can add up over time to be tens, hundreds, even millions of dollars over time for your clients. A massive savings that you can help provide to your customers and showcase the value of your services as CPAs. So whether it's different payment methods, to being able to automatically schedule payments after full approval, to being able to schedule later or manually release payments on a self-determined basis, you've got full control over how you want payments processed out of Ramp as well. But then, of course, we need to have approval processes as well. So we can see here a quick preview of what an approval process would look like in Ramp for this bill, but this is fully customizable, so I can create dynamic approval workflows that help to get bills in front of the right people's eyes, depending on what the amount of the bill is, what vendor the bill is for, or even nuanced information like how the bill is coded with different accounting fields. I can have different approvers be looped in automatically based on an approval structure I set up. So from start to finish, with bill pay and Ramp, it should be as simple as uploading an invoice, giving a quick review, and sending it off for approval. And no extra work is needed. We're seeing over 80% of invoices that are being processed through Ramp have 0 touches from a user adjusting the invoice, and they're able to process them seamlessly.
Nigel, we want to move for some Q&A just so we can move on to the next app. There's a couple confusion about whether Ramp it's a credit card company or people bring in their own credit card into this. So let's just clarify that Ramp is a credit card company. Essentially, the business needs to take out a line of credit through Ramp and needs to be using Ramp to make all these payments and all these expenses, correct?
Yeah, Ramp does offer a credit card. It's kind of like a charge card that you'll have a monthly limit for that you pay. But Ramp also does have a reimbursement platform too. So you can take purchases from other credit cards and reimburse them through Ramp.
So the value proposition is you're a small business, a medium-sized business. You take out a Ramp credit card. You make all your business expenditures via the Ramp credit card. The portal is much more powerful than any other credit card platform out there, better than American Express, better than any Visa or MasterCard. It fully integrates with QuickBooks. If you attach a receipt to the transaction here, it transfers over to QuickBooks. Inside the platform, people can approve paying things or not paying things. So you use the charge card also as a bill approval system. And if you have people that travel or do reimbursable expenses, you use the same platform to manage it all. Would you say that's a good summary of the value proposition for Ramp?
Exactly. Having it all in one allows it to be a tool that gives you full visibility, as well as a consolidated user experience, helping to streamline the experience, as well as give you better analytical power because it's all together with things like even our price intelligence tool, where this will analyze the contracts that or subscriptions that you're paying for and notice if you're maybe paying over market averages, point that out to you and help you renegotiate your contracts. That way you can have some cost savings as well.
Awesome. So, I'm taking over the screen. Nigel, thank you very much. Your email is on the slides. People will be able to get more personalized information for you. I think that if you're intrigued by this, you should contact Nigel directly, ask your questions. there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to expense management, card management. I think you have a lot of clients that you're thinking, this could work. Clients that maybe are using Bill.com or they're using an American Express too much, and you want to compare, what is the benefit of using this versus, like, that's a classic example. Like when I send people to Ramp, my clients are so attached, and in their mind, it's like American Express or else. Like, I only should use my American Express, and I allow you guys to sell the value proposition on that, because once they're in Ramp, the quality of the information is just incredible. Like, just like the portal, and as an accountant, I much prefer to have high quality information so I can do my job correctly and effectively than, the difference between a little bit of points here and there. And in some cases, I've seen comparisons where Ramp's point system is actually more generous than American Express. In some situations, you have to look at each case. So Nigel, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead
and it's only the tip of the iceberg. Please reach out, anyone, if you want to hear more.
Amazing. All right. So Carlos, can we make sure that Edgar from TaxDome is queued up? And you can stick around, Nigel, and answer any questions are in there. There's some questions about comparing it to Divi. So maybe go in the chat and answer some of those questions. That would be
awesome.
Great.
Will do.
Hey,
okay.
Edgar, I think we see him on video. How you doing, Edgar?
Yeah,
Can we hear you?
No.
There you are. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for inviting us for the webinar. Really liking this presentation so far. Great value from all the products. I think Reframe's done, great, incredible job bringing all of us good, value proposition vendors here all together. That presentation has the ramp link, Hector, but I'm sure we can correct that in the, put the link in the chat for TaxDome. For those of you guys that are interested or happy, we probably already know a little bit about TaxDome. Just want to let you know what TaxDome actually is or what it does. We are a management system for tax bookkeeping professionals or accounting firms. We service all from solo practitioners to firms of over 100 employees. And our main unique selling point here is bringing all of your tools, all of your software to run your operation into a single platform. So what we want to achieve with something like TaxDome is have your document storage, your client portal, your invoicing, your e-signatures, your workflow tracking, your reporting, basically every aspect of running your operation, just have it all in a single place. Today, we'll focus on three, what I consider the primary modules of the system. I will be paying attention as well to the Q&A and chat, just in case anyone has questions about if we have a certain feature or if we replace a certain vendor you're probably using today. Let us know in the Q&A. We'll be paying attention to those and answering those in a few seconds.
Now, you're now the co-host, so you can share your screen.
Perfect. I'm trying to share my browser. Is that up already?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. Well, to all of you that know a little bit about it again, we'll focus on CRM, workflow tracking, and document storage. This last few weeks have been a little bit, to me as a TaxDome employee, have been a little crazy because I've been talking to 8 to 9 people every single day, all from new businesses to very well established firms that are looking to implement new technology for their practice and prepare for the tax season that's coming. And the idea, from like preparing for tax season already, I think in the majority of the cases comes from implementing a system to gather information quickly from your clients. Now, that is the first module or the first aspect of TaxDome. It does offer a CRM to manage every client relationship. Now, it does pair better with managing existing relationships. So if you have clients who let's say every year you send them a checklist, send them a questionnaire or an engagement letter to sign, TaxDome has an incredible CRM to do all of that very easily. So what I like showing here, as you can see on the screen, says accounts on the top left. Each one of these represents an entity or a personal return client that the firm may be working with. Some of the things that we like doing, when we're preparing for the tax season or maybe do bookkeeping, there's an important update for your clients. You can filter on certain parameters, like I like filtering by personal tax, and then just very simply sending an email to all my clients here, right? Click the box on the top and then send an email and tell everybody that it is tax time. This is just one very simplistic use case, but most firms that I get to discuss this with, in most cases, they either are paying a separate tool like MailChimp or something entirely different just for marketing and batch emails. And when a proper CRM should definitely be able to do that for the firm. So with TaxDome, you can send batch emails, and again, bulk actions are do not end there. The idea is you take a group of clients, bookkeeping, tax, any parameter you would like, and then bulk communicate with those. Now, the idea here is if you are spending in your practice, right? If you're spending time, let's say crafting engagement letters one by one because you have a Word document you send to clients, or you have a Word template proposal that you edit every time you engage with a new client. Through software like TaxDome, you can simply create those templates. So I do have a client here for bookkeeping. I can click more actions, and then I don't need a separate proposal, software that I need to pay for. I can just go ahead and click send proposal, have my templates, create my packages, and offer those to clients here. And then again, those templates will be full of code. So when you send them to a certain client, that code pulls information from the CRM, making the whole process more seamless and way faster than usually editing a Word document or doing it manually through like a typical PDF. I'm going to go back here to the CRM to finalize on one more action that I believe is going to be very, very helpful specifically for this group, which is document requests or just checklists for clients to complete. And I think there's two primary use cases for this. If in your practice you do tax, you will need a way to gather documents from your clients quickly. And you probably already are sending them something like a questionnaire or like an organizer from your tax software. Through TaxDome, you have two options. You can create a template organizer that is generic but has logic inside it. So you can create a form with questions. Clients can answer those questions. I'm going to show the preview here of what that looks like for the clients. And the clients, when they answer those questions, they can get more or fewer items to answer. So this is a fully customizable form software. I do see a lot of practices using Google Forms or Cognito Forms, all this kind of software just for gathering details, which is that is a function that is built in with the system here. So you don't need to pay or have a separate tool to make your clients go use that. Now that's the kind of the first use case for that. You can have a generic questionnaire for onboarding, tax preparation, for business formation, any kind of service you offer to clients. You can build that form or copy our templates and send it to the clients to complete. Another very useful, I think, use case for the questionnaires or client requests that TaxDome has built in is the for bookkeeping specifically. With I have here a dummy client, XYZ business, that if I go to their profile, I have a request for missing information for a certain month. And I do believe there's a great opportunity for a lot of practices to just basically automate instances in which you need information from the clients on a recurring basis. So if there's a certain bank statement you don't get access to every month through TaxDome, because it has a client portal, you can send an automated request every month to the client with that, that list of missing documents or information you need to complete that month for the bookkeeping. Or that same case repeats for any other service that repeats or any instance where you have a repetitive list of tasks for the clients to complete. You can take advantage of our automated workflows to customize a request or a notification that gets sent to the client on a recurring basis. And that hopefully will save you time to just not have to chase the clients as much for receiving missing information on for your items. Now, before we continue, I do want to just clarify, because we've been talking about the CRM so far, but there is a client aspect to this. TaxDome does have the client portal. We do offer a mobile app, and we have a browser portal. So anybody that has a computer, mobile phone with a browser and internet access will be able to log into the portal. Now here, I'm going to go to my client here to show you what happens when clients use the portal to make payments or sign documents or communicate with you. When I go into each one of these client files, look at how I have all of these different sections that all could represent a different system that I could be using to run my practice. You would probably see, most of you are probably using some form of cloud storage, I am sure, to, keep your documents in the cloud and securely stored. Every time you receive documents from clients inside TaxDome, they wind up somewhere in the system, and you can customize your very own folder architecture so that you control what the clients see when they upload, where they can upload. You can have private folders for work papers or just firm documents you want to keep inside the client file, but you maybe don't need the client to see. So this could become your all-in-one system for document storage, and it has a desktop component that installs a virtual drive. So if you like navigating your documents and kind of browsing through your folders locally from your Windows computer, you can just install TaxDome on your device and use the TaxDome folder like if it was Google Drive or Dropbox or any of the typical virtual drive software. Our document storage system does come with electronic signatures, and these are a native product that we developed. So we do not use third parties like DocuSign or any other vendor. You can use unlimited electronic signatures, and we support KBA in case you need to get a signature on forms like e-filing authorization forms that require an identification of the taxpayer. You can use our system to get compliant e-sign on your forms. Now, lastly, on the document storage piece, we started doing something very, very interesting, which is a checklist for documents. This is more on the tax side of things. So if you are, if you're doing taxes or you have plans to include tax in your practice, you can have a checklist that rolls over every year to the clients, and this is customizable. We do have a beta product that creates checklists from using AI from a prior year return. This is not available system-wide yet. Planned for the end of this month to get released to all of the community. But the idea is you have an easy way to generate a checklist of potential documents you will need for the tax prep, if that is one of the services you offer the clients. Now, I'm going to cover just one more area here that I believe is important on the firm side, which is the communication aspect. For those of you that have teams or collaborate with people, maybe temporarily during the tax season or during certain months of the year, TaxDome does try to centralize all of your communication and just put it in one place. This is a great context tool. So if, for example, I collaborate with a seasonal employee, I can see every email conversation here that has been exchanged with the client historically. So this will track all the client emails. It will create a history, and it basically looks at all the firm emails and puts them all in one place. More useful for teams that are in constant communication with clients, but it does help keep all the context in one single place. So you just get access to it immediately when you need it.
Edgar, that's awesome, man. And the time, obviously, that since we're doing a lot of demos of a lot of apps, I'm a TaxDome user myself, so I know that it's just not enough time to do it justice. But I'm gonna go ahead and run the polling question. I do want to address sort of the most common question that people are asking is how does it compare to and just insert other practice management software. So how does it compare to Firm 360? How does it compare to Double? How does it compare to Financial Sense? Like literally every single person that presumably are using a different solution for practice management are asking you to give a comparison of every single one. Would it be fair to say that that's almost virtually impossible to answer, and the only way to truly compare it is to schedule a demo, and in that demo ask it how you work? Hey, I do this, I do that. How does it look like in TaxDome? And allow every single one of you guys to kind of showcase how to answer that in a very customized way, because comparing apps it's just not an easy task, period.
Not. It is not, yes. I do agree with you. If you guys are interested in learning how we compare to your existing products, which chances are all of you are using some form of a portal or a system to manage your practice, TaxDome does overlap with a lot of tools. So come to the demo, tell us what you are using today, and we'll be more than happy to help you compare directly. There are some cases in which having a full-fledged practice management system doesn't even make sense. So part of the demo is also kind of discovering whether or not you actually need something like this. If you're interested, come to the demo and our team's going to help you out. I will put a link in the chat if you allow me to, Hector.
Yeah.
So if anyone
Yep.
interested wants to book a demo, you guys can use the link in the chat here for
they do that, but just so you know, we're using the polling question system so people opt in. So everybody that says yes, you get the contact information and you can send them the link directly to remind them to do a demo. And one quick suggestion is the best time to do a demo is before January 15th, because then once you're in the middle of tax season, it's going to be very hard to make changes. Although you can make a change anytime, right? If you need to improve your system, you can make changes anytime. If we have any TaxDome users in the chat, just put in there that you love the software or whatever, so to give us some street cred. Carlos, should we move over to the next presenter?
Yeah, we should have Ryan ready to go for Wurthy. So Ryan, welcome. And we're going to request for you to start your video. You should be able to get a prompt to do that.
Perfect.
All right. Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Doing great.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so I'm going to take us through Wurthy, and I met many of you at the Reframe event, so good to see you again. We've been running a lot of demos and awesome, progress with partners. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Just going to pull up a desktop so I can share everything. Just a second.
We can see your screen. We can see your screen
now.
All
right, great. So just quick overview for Wurthy. We're fairly new vendor in the accounting space. We've had 2,000 businesses that have joined our platform over the last couple of years, and we're extremely focused on the accounting and bookkeeping channel. So many of the conversations I had with you all at the event were about we're a native AI platform that helps you service your clients on a monthly basis. So I'll hop right in. Wurthy is really a threefold system. We start with intelligence and app connections for you and your clients. So at the top, you can see the intelligence. We pull all of that in with a bunch of different apps, and then we connect all of that with our super agent, which is called Wes. Once those apps are connected, we actually give a business health score for any of your clients that are using the system based upon the connectivity of the GL plus, it goes all the way from pipeline all the way through marketing. So you can pull all those apps together, look at your business holistically that you're servicing, and then it gives a business health score. The agent can then take all of that information and action on your behalf if you wanted to. It's totally under your control. You are in charge. There's always a human in the loop to do that. The business health score, then you can see here, this example is 87 out of 100. That is actually used as an underwriting tool to extend credit to the business. So that, you and your clients, if your clients are looking at traditional lending and going out and getting, credit lines to be able to support their business, Wurthy can handle that all in-house. This is tied directly to the business. We typically have more information than a standard lender will have, and the credit lines it doesn't require a personal guarantee by the business owner as well. So just a call out for some of you that might be using that. And then finally, we do also have banking and credit that's on the platform too. So let me keep going. This is your dashboard as a financial partner of ours. This is an example. But you can see on the dashboard, it has a business health score, a cash balance, net receivables, and credit available. We have out-of-the-box automations that you can leverage that can help with AR collections, bill capture, and then we do also have, so the financial pieces, we've got a lot of different ones, and then we do also have growth. And I'll jump in and show you a live demo here in just a second. And again, this is a financial operating system. It's purpose built for small businesses. This is not, $200-300 million businesses. This is built for small businesses. And it's really built to enable your clients to uncover hidden financial insights, improve marketing performance, and unlock working capital so that they can continue to grow. You as a partner, we have a cool promo that's running, but we're starting off at a 30% monthly recurring revenue share for you. That's on any of the client platform fees, plus any of the credit, the net interchange, and all of the details that are on basically the net fees that come in. We're gonna share that with you. This enables you to go from bookkeeping or just monthly reconciliation to finding advisory insights really quick. And I'll showcase some of those here in just a second. To your clients, right? They're able to leverage the full platform and be able to have a better handle on their business with your support. So, a quick how to partner with us and Wurthy. I have a QR code that I'll scan here in a second, and you can check it out. We have a 12-month promo running though, so there's no fee for you or your clients for up to 12 months after they sign up. But this promo is only running until March 31st. So I encourage you, if you're interested in checking it out, scan the QR code and sign up, and I can walk you through how to get started. We're calling this the Founders Circle Golden Ticket. As I mentioned, you get 12-month free access for your clients. You can earn up to 4K per client. That's like a standard average that our other partners are already pulling in, and you get access to the gold tier status from day one. So, I'll put the QR code up here, and I can circle back to this, and I'm going to hop to a live demo here just in a second.
Yeah, no, the QR codes are not necessary because everybody is getting an email with your contact information and the link. So just go to the demo.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is the dashboard, as I mentioned. I wanted to just hop in and show you from a financial partner. This is a demo account of mine, and I just set up this business this week. But Valerie is the client name. You can see their health score coming in is 34 out of 100. Not great, so they need some help. And I'm running 5 of 33 active agents today. And when I say agent, that's really like a pre-canned automation. So let's jump over to the dashboard, and I'll show you what the power, what Wurthy can do. So on the left here, in the left nav, you've got clients, you've got operations, you've got credit and banking, and then we do also have Wes that's here. And Wes is the agent that's wrapped around this business. I've got QuickBooks connected, I've got bank accounts connected, so it has the ability to pull financial reports out of this. But I did want to just call out, when you sign up a new partner and you just plop in their business name and their website, the agent will actually go and scrape the internet for that and it'll pull up an SEO performance report for them. It looks at their website performance. It looks at local citation audits, and all of these are pulled like immediately once that is connected into the system. So I just wanted to call that out, that like the growth in marketing, that is obviously not necessarily like top of mind for accountants, but it is something that business owners care about. And that's a way that you can go in and have, a different conversation with them about like, hey, what are you doing with marketing and how are you spending your money to drive leads back to the business? So that's just the dashboard. I'll click into the 13-week cash forecast because I just ran this before we started. That's not good. Let me go back to the chat where I had the 13-week cash forecast, and I ran that this morning, and it basically goes through and it looks at like, hey, you don't have any outstanding receivables or payments in this QuickBooks file that I'm running. It does show that it's got 16 weeks of bank transactions, and it shows the cash flow pattern and trend here for the business. So this is literally, you haven't done anything in the QuickBooks file. You've simply connected it to the Wurthy platform, and the agent is going to go through and actually pull all of these, similar to what you may do, and look at, many different areas of QuickBooks or pulling reports and trying to go and find that data. So it's also making recommendations on a 13-week cash forecast, like, hey, you need to have a cash threshold at 11,000. You need to be able to, refresh that and on every week. and also looking at other questions that the agent's going to be able to pull up there. So you can chat directly with Wes throughout this, and Wes has memory that's focused directly on the business as well. All of the connections, I didn't call this out, but it connects to 2,800 different apps out of the box. And so these are just some of the tools that are connected, but you can go in and browse all of the tools in our connection area. These are, obviously the standard GL products, Stripe, Square, PayPal, Facebook and Google ads for marketing. All of these that are built in there. And again, you can connect bank accounts through that as well. So let me go back to operations and I'll just show you. These are the agents that I've run on this newer demo business. So I've got my 13-week cash forecast. I've got the SEO performance report and some of the other website performance report, as well as AR collections. Now, within AR collections, you simply can connect into this and say, hey, I want to get this set up with Wes. And it'll go and set that up specifically for this business. Because it's in AR collections, it's going to automate invoice follow-up with personalized outreach and improve cash flow recovery, saving 5 to 10 hours a week. You simply need to connect whatever email provider. This one, I haven't set up a Gmail, but as soon as you click connect and set and verify that, you'll be able to draft the email with Wes's help and send that out to any outstanding customers that are shown in the GL. So that is just one quick example. Let me go back to some of the other agents and show you. We have our 13-week cash flow, AR collections, AP bill prioritization, and then we do also have a month-end advisory that you can run on behalf of your clients. So Hector and Carlos, I just want to check on time. I know it's hard to cover everything in a short period of time, but I just want to.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, it's like that. The beauty of this is that people get a lot of information within 2 hours. So then later on, they can go watch the recording and see what they're most interested in. If you were to summarize what the value proposition of this is, because it seems like a real powerful tool that connects to a lot of apps, because I want people to think beyond just connecting to QuickBooks. Like I think connecting to QuickBooks is kind of the fundamental thing. It's kind of what you're demoing right now. But you said you connect 2,800 apps to this. So obviously the functionality goes way beyond connecting to QuickBooks. How would you describe in a 30-second elevator pitch for someone that's like, okay, what the hell is Wurthy and why should I look into this?
Yeah, so it's really the platform that I was showing, at the outset here is, it's one platform that connects intelligence, automation, and credit and banking together. So you can really understand your clients' businesses a lot faster by connecting these apps. It's going to pull out insights and utilizing the AI models that we've really, really tooled down to be focused on context for small businesses and for you as advisors of those small businesses. So if you're able to get those insights faster, even run, like you can load in your own SOPs at your firm of like what you do on a month-end reconciliation or what you do to be ready for an advisory report. You can enable Wes and our agent to go and do some of that work for you so that you can spend more time doing that advising versus all of the kind of the drudgery of accounting and bookkeeping. So that's a quick 30-second overview of what we can do.
More than 30 seconds, but for fair enough, I'm going to go ahead and run the polling question. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to ask for kind of a personalized demo just so they can contextualize this to their world. Because again, without looking at your own data, it's like difficult to appreciate. I feel you have to connect one client to it and kind of go, oh, this is what it can do. The only question I'll ask you before we transition to ADP here is this something that's more useful for accountants to get insights or for accountants to create custom dashboards so clients can get insights? Or do you even create a differentiation of those two?
Yeah, so we do have a differentiation. We have reports that are only available to the accountant or financial partner on the specific business. So if they connect, if you're connected to that client, you can see certain info. Some accountants want to have this on their own, right, and use it for their purposes to do month end. But you can share it with the client if you'd like. So it just depends on the relationship that you have there, and the customization of what you want to share and what you don't want to. So it can go either way.
Awesome, Ryan. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take over the screen. Thank you very much. Great demo.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go out there and say that this app is kind of the perfect example of what Carlos and I are thinking, what innovative advisory can look like this year. It's not just giving clients suggestions and advisory, is using and leveraging tech. And it looks like these guys over at Wurthy are being very creative. So Ryan, good job. Carlos, can we queue up our folks from ADP?
Yeah, I believe we have Bryan and Vanessa ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and prompt you to start your video and take it away, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you
Ryan,
very
are
much.
you on?
And well, good afternoon, good morning. I know that there's people from all over the country. So thank you very much for the opportunity to the Reframe team, to Hector, to Carlos. So me and Vanessa, we had the opportunity of meeting a lot of you during the Reframe event. So it was nice to talking to you. So today, basically, what we're gonna do is 2 different demos, really quick, because I know we're short in time. So we're gonna do the Accountant Connect, okay, and then we're gonna transition to the Run application. So basically the Accountant Connect, which I'm going to start sharing with you right now, okay, is the platform. It was a platform that was created by accountants for accountants. So ADP pretty much grabbed accountants from the nationwide. They selected like around 25 accountants from the country. And please let me know if you are seeing the screen.
It's loading. We can see it now.
Okay, perfect. So just want to do a quick disclaimer here. So none of the information that you see, business information or client or employees, is not real. This is just for the purpose. This is just fictitious information for the purpose of the demo. Okay, because we do not share information, client information or employee information. So just wanted to put that out there. So here, really quick, I'm gonna be talking and walking you through the Accountant Connect. Once you walk into the portal, right, that you log in, you're gonna see the list of the clients that you have set up into the Accountant Connect. You have the dashboard, but some of the things that I wanted to point out are some of the options and features. And this is one of the ones that is mostly used for accountants, which is the reports and taxes, right? So you can, if you have clients that are already with ADP, you can pick on the platform they have, and you can go over here. If you need like a particular report, let's say from Amy's Pizza, right? You need a 941 from a particular quarter. You can just go to reports, taxes, and you can even select the period in which you want it, and it can create it for you like a quarterly, or if you just want like a one time, right? So pretty much I think this is a very helpful tool, because whenever you're doing those tax declarations, or your team, because I know a lot of you have a team in place in your firms where they work pretty much with your clients directly. So I think this is a powerful tool where you can download reports. Right now it's tax season, right? A lot of people are calling, oh, the W-2 for this employee, such and such. Okay, so this is an option here where they can just download those particular reports. For the sake of time, I'm not going to show like how the reports looks, because you guys already know how those looks, right?
I'm an ADP user, so I'm just going to add one thing that's really powerful about this, is that you can batch these. So you have a group of 4 or 5 companies that you want to get all the PDFs across multiple companies, 941s, W2s, whatever. You can batch, and I would say that's probably what makes this system particularly more powerful than the other payroll systems. I just wanted to add that because we use this in our firm.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, correct. So here you can select multiple businesses here at the same time, and then just batch reporting. Now, moving to the next option here, okay, which is the analysis tools. I think this one is very powerful, because as we practice during the Reframe event, right, part of the whole thing and where accounting is transition is to the advisory, right? How you can provide full access to your clients, like a full game plan. So here you can track like all of your companies that you start to set up. If they had 7 new hires, this one terminated 1, this other one had 1 new hire. So with this information, with this data, I think it's very helpful, because you can track which of your businesses are growing, right? You have like a more clear picture if that business is growing. So you can call probably that business owner, hey, let's have a talk. Let's see what the future holds for you. Let's see the next 5 months. I see that you're growing, that you're adding employees. And from there, you can help the clients. The company benchmarking too, as you know, ADP is pretty much the leader. And when it comes to data, like all of those reports that you see in the news and unemployment reports, they come directly from ADP. That's the pretty much where you see all of this report. So we have all of that data from the whole country. So you can pretty much track if you have a particular clinic and they want to hire an assistant, right? Where they want to see based on their job description how much salary they're paying in that particular area. Let's say you have a new HR assistant in California, how much are they getting paid? So you can pretty much guide your clients and be able to provide the advice they need, right, on that particular area. Then moving to the advisory opportunity, you have all of your clients here, right? We're finding out that there's a lot of small businesses, where they're falling now, things are changing, the new big beautiful bill. So a lot of clients are out of compliance. So once you have all of your clients here through the advisory opportunity, you can determine whether that client, for example, Amy's Bakery, right? They have 10 employees. It's very little, but 10 employees, and it's going to give you an alert. Once you see this little light bulb in the triangle, right, it's going to tell you Amy's Bakery has more than 10 employees in New Jersey, New York, and which they might require to have workers' comp. So this gives you an opportunity to talk to your clients again, to bring them to the office, have a meeting. You can even share with client here, and you can send them a quick email, and so that way they can reach out to you. Or you can also share the information referred to ADP, and it's gonna go directly to the rep that you're working with. In this case, it could be me or Vanessa, right? So I think this is a huge opportunity, not only for workers' compensation, but as you know, there's states that are already pretty much having mandates in place where where employers are required to have a retirement plan. So pretty much this little light bulb will let you know here too if that client has payroll, has ADP, if they're in a particular state where retirement is required as well. Okay, so then to the other session here, I want to walk you through the calculator so that way I can soon pass it to Vanessa. In the calculators, I think is very helpful. You have the salary paycheck calculator. You can pretty much just put an amount if it's weekly. And so that way your client, you can assist your clients. They have a lot of questions. Oh, what about if I have two dependents? What about why is not ADP or any other provider withholding my federal taxes? So through this calculator, you can plug and play the numbers and show your clients, hey, look, and educate them, right? So for example, if you pay someone $500 or $700, let's say, in the state of, let's say, Arkansas, right? You go to Arkansas, they have a state tax. So you would see here from 700, if it's weekly, your withholding is going to be $42. However, now that number changes, of course, if you're pretty much married, right? Now the withholding goes to $8. So a lot of people don't understand, and they call and accountants, from all over the country. Sometimes they call us, oh, what's happening here? Like why isn't ADP taking out the withholding? Because that's pretty much what's going to determine like their tax refund. That's what people are worried about, right? So you can help out your clients here. Something really cool. I cannot go through all of the calculators for the time, but look, another tool that you can help, so that way you can provide that advisement that your clients need is the Secure Act 2.0 calculator, where you could plug in, let's say, if you have a client, and this comes for like tax strategies when you come like implementing retirement plans. Let's say you have 5 employees that were paid between $5,000 to $100,000. It would tell you right away what are the tax credits that they could qualify for. That business throughout the period of 5 years, what tax credits they qualify for, and that comes with retirement, right? So I would really invite all of you to look into these tools, right? So that way you can have a better idea and show your clients where they could take advantages of tax credits, right? So here, it's not gonna let me move. Okay, let me see. Go back to the demo again.
I'll just clarify that really quick. We don't want to get into what Secure 2.0 is, but essentially you get a tax credit for the administrative cost of adding a retirement plan for your company. So the government wants to reward, adding benefits to your customers, and a lot of business owners don't even know about. A lot of accountants don't even know about that, and that's really cool that you got that quick calculator letting you know that the retirement plan might be cheaper than you thought, with those tax credits. Brian, are you going to show one more thing before we go to Vanessa?
Yes. So here, the last thing that I want to show is once you click into the CCH tax resources that we offer. So as you know, so pretty much it's gonna take you here to this page where ADP pretty much has partnered with Waltons Kluwer, right? One of the largest providers of information, as you probably a lot of you know. So here in this AI tool that we have now, you can ask them questions here. So I put that question before the demo. So I just asked the tool, let's say, help me clarify, or provide me with an example how an individual making $20,000 in overtime can take advantage of the new no tax on overtime. So it will give you a breakdown of everything that you need to know, right? And give you an example too. So it's just a tool that was created, and it pretty much extracts the information from all the data from IRS, from Waltons Kluwer, and you can even generate a client letter. Okay, so I would love to be more detailed, but like you said, there's not a lot of time. But now, here you can see that it generates the client letter, so that way you can keep your clients informed. And I think this is a beautiful tool to do marketing to your clients, to keep them informed. So now I'll pass it to Vanessa. Okay, so that way.
And to clarify, as long as you are part of the Accountant Connect platform, which doesn't cost anything to accountants, it costs nothing. Right.
Exactly.
You have at least one client, right, who hooked up to it. You have access to all these features. I mean, like, there's no company out there that is as generous as ADP with the accountant heavy resources that they give out. And I say that seriously because I've been using ADP for a very long time, and I've been part of their council. And, the multiple batching of the report, I was actually part of the council that suggested that. That's why I remembered to mention it. So ADP is extremely, extremely generous to their accounting community. So like, just creating an account just so you can see the resources is worth it, whether you have a client in ADP or not, and you will naturally going to be moving your clients to ADP. So I just wanted to add that. And Vanessa, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that, Hector. So this is what essentially the platform looks like once the client is set up. So essentially, whoever the ADP rep, whether it's Bryan, me, or anyone else, we help the client get set up and putting in employee information, company information, bank information, just to make sure that it's set up correctly. And then we have someone from our team verify all the information. And as they're setting up, we automatically connect it to your Accountant Connect so that you have access to the reporting and the payroll, so that you don't have to worry about asking the client later on for authorization. So this is ideally what the platform looks like. They can run payroll on their desktop, a tablet, their phone, their mobile. If they're traveling, as long as they have Wi-Fi, they can process payroll, and it's essentially just 3 easy steps. The system will already auto-generate when their next check date is based off of when we set up the account. All they really have to do is just make sure that they run the payroll by this date, by this time, and then the pay period will already be on there. 3 steps. So essentially all they really have to do is click on that run payroll. And then that first page that loads up will be the W-2 employees. And I say that because there's a separate page for the 1099s. We do both. But this is going to be the W-2 employees that all their information is already pre-filled out. If they're hourly, their rate will already be on there. If they have a set salary, their set salary will already be on there. So essentially, you're just inputting hours, unless you have integrated our timekeeping service, which is a separate add-on that you could do that will make your life even easier and save you on time. But let's say it's not integrated. All you really essentially have to do is add in those hours on there or any salaries, and then move on to the next page. The next page will only show up if you have 1099 contractors. If not, this page won't show up. But yes, we do service 1099. So under amount, or if they're hourly, we would have the rate on there with the hours. Make sure that's input. And then before any payroll is finalized, you can preview it. And then once this page loads, you're going to see a couple things on there. Again, we're only on the 3rd step. If this employee doesn't have direct deposit, you'll get an alert that you're going to get checks sent to the address that you provided on file, which again, you can always change if need be. And it'll show you a couple of things. So it'll show you the cash required that you need to have in the bank in order to process the payroll. So most importantly, please have that in there. It'll show you the gross pay, the taxes that are being deducted, any deductions. And if you wanted to generate the report before you process that payroll, you would just go on reports and payroll preview, and it'll just generate all the payroll report before you approve it. And then if everything looks good, you would just essentially just click on approve. It'll ask you one more time just to be safe, and then approve, and that's it. That's all your client really has to do to process payroll, which again, normally the first, second, and third, we help the client and as many as they need. But through Accountant Connect, essentially the accountant can follow these 3 steps as well to run payroll. And we can also put it on automatic if it's a set salary, if that's something that the client would like to do. I know that I ran out of time, actually, Hector. I think it's 125 is my limit, so I don't know if I can keep going.
Well, we can do some of the Q&A. That's really important.
Okay.
Hey, there's a lot of questions usually about the pricing, and I know pricing is a little bit complex. My recommendation is if you have clients on a different payroll platform, put together a little spreadsheet of all your clients with all the employees they have, whether or not they want an HR elevated type of support, and then set up a demo with them because they can give you a personalized price list. Vanessa, maybe you want to talk a little bit about revenue sharing, how it works with ADP. We'll give you maybe like 2 minutes to pitch. Either there's 2 types of this. So for example, a couple of years ago, I sold my clients to ADP, which basically means they paid me, and then customers pay ADP directly, and they pay me one time, and we kind of transition them. But there's also wholesale. So ADP will charge you a lower fee, and then you can charge a fee on top of your advisory fees and your accounting fees on top of that. And there's also revenue sharing. I guess that's the revenue sharing component. But can you speak to that briefly, and then we'll run the polling question, or we'll go to the next partner.
Yeah, so you kind of gonna hit it on the spot there. Yeah, we do have acquisitions if you're selling your book of business, or if you want to yourself process the payroll using our platform at a discounted rate. We just give you the base fee and the frequency and employee pricing in terms of that, so you can charge your client as much as you want. And then we also have the account revenue share, which is just done through referrals. So the first 3 referrals get you 25% of what we bill the client annually. On the 5th one, you get 50%, and then on the 10th, you get 75%. Ideally, we always want to get to at least 5, because that you get residuals for your 2nd through 5th year, starting on the 5th one of 10%. And again, this is all something that we can send, more information of, because it's a lot of numbers that we're just throwing out there. Based off of pricing, we essentially, how we bill it is focused on frequency, number of employees, and then the type of bundle that they are most suited for. So we have, our essential, which is perfect for S Corps, all the way up to HR Pro if they're bigger and looking for HR support, employee handbook. And that's something that we can always speak to with accountants before speaking to the client directly.
Thank you very much. I went ahead and ran the poll. So if anyone wants direct contact with any of these ADP reps, and you want information about what it looks like on the client side, what it looks like on the Accountant Connect side, what revenue sharing looks like, all the resources, go ahead and connect with them directly, and they will give you all the access to all the things. Particularly if you don't use ADP now, I think at the very least you should establish a connection and get access to Accountant Connect. There's no obligation to do anything. Get access to those resources because they're incredibly valuable. So we have so the polling question is up. So if you're interested in getting information from ADP, and guys, there's a couple questions here about onboarding and pricing or whatever. So go ahead and answer them in the chat before you exit. All right, perfect. Do we have? Thank you very much, guys. Do we have Ted queued up?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, good. Let me turn off the video for the other folks here. Okay, great. All right, Ted. So Ted from MakersHub, do you want to share your screen?
I sure do. Just give me a second here, and I'll get that going. All right, here we are. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Carlos. It's great to be here, everybody. And I'm not going to bore you with PowerPoints and all that type of stuff. I just want to tell you a few things about MakersHub. But first, I want to say I have a soft spot in my heart for ADP. 30 years ago, or actually it's been 33 years ago now. That's where I first started my career with accountants and the accounting community. So I worked for ADP many, many moons ago, and it's a great company. So besides that, I'm going to talk about my company. So yeah, I'm with MakersHub. We're an AP automated platform for payments, paying your bills. We connect not only with QuickBooks Online, but QuickBooks Desktop. So any version of QuickBooks, also with Sage Intacct, NetSuite as well. And we also have a custom integration that we can do with other types of ERP systems. Now, what makes us a little bit different is that we don't pretend to be for like a Bill.com replacement for small little clients. What we do is a little more robust for those tiny little clients that don't maybe have the need for detailed information coming into the system, that maybe don't use POs, don't need job and project costing and those types of things. But for those companies that do, the product is extremely powerful. So I'm going to give you a few examples here. So this is the UI. This is the user interface, the dashboard. It's purposefully simple for you to see the bills that need to be reviewed, the receipts that need to be reviewed, account payable, all that type of stuff. But I'm just going to go straight into bills. And so this is what it looks like when bills would come in either through, well, when your bills come in and they come in through your unique email address, they're already going to be here. They're going to be processed and ready to be reviewed. But I wanted to show you some of the things that make us a little bit different. So I'm going to first go to this Home Depot bill. That's actually one file that has 68 pages inside of that file. But there's 63 separate bills inside of that Home Depot bill. So some of them are credits, some of them are page 1 of 1, some of them are page 1 of 2. And so what normally would happen with something like this is a AP department would just code not the details, but they would code just each invoice total. Well, that doesn't help us when we're trying to get to real true cost of goods, right? Cost of goods sold and that type of stuff. So I'm going to just drag and drop this one in and into this uploads document area. So then the next one I wanted to show you all is, so that's one where it's all the same company, right? It's all Home Depot or all the same vendor. But what happens if a client sends us a file that has 8 different invoices or 100 different invoices / bills, whatever it is, all from different vendors? And some of them may be bills, some of them may be receipts, and even some of them may be handwritten, right? So we have this Camera Plus 2 bunch Casa or whatever this says. So I'm going to upload this one in along with this Belimo. There's no reason I didn't want to show you this Belimo per se until it gets into MakersHub. Now, there's a few other ways that we can get bills into MakersHub. And another way is, for instance, let's just say you're scanning your client's vendor's site, like their vendor portal, and you see the bill. Maybe it's like an AT&T, and you see the bill statement there. Well, what really drives me crazy, I know, is having to download that bill, having to save it in a specific spot, have it take up room in my computer, which, it's funny now that we have 350 terabytes or whatever, or 2 terabytes worth of data, and you're still running out of data. So what I can do is just take a screenshot of this. And then what I'm going to do is just paste it into MakersHub by hitting Control V. So those are all the different ways that we can get information into MakersHub. Now, if we take a look, these green little squares here are those invoices or bills that have multiple invoices in there. Look at that 63-page bill, or 68-page, 63 bills is already processed. It took probably about 40 seconds to process 63 bills, to get all the line item detail out of it, and then to separate everything out. So I'm looking at the group of bills now that are in here. And as you can see, if I go in here, I have every single bit of detail already populated for me, including SKU number, the description, the quantity, the price, every single thing that is needed. Now, the other thing that this shows me, because when you're getting bills in this quantity, there's a lot of times for potential duplicates. So what this is showing me that there is a potential duplicate. I can review the duplicate. I can see that it's already been paid. And so I have a couple of things that I can do now. I can either merge those documents or I can request changes. So if this is maybe not a duplicate, I can request changes or other things, or I can just write out, just say, hey, I'm going to reject this because it's a duplicate record of, and then I can say what it's a duplicate record of, and then I can just reject. Now, regardless if it's page 1 of 1, or I'm going to go back to the group, or page or an invoice that has 2 pages, we're going to capture everything in there because we know where one bill ends and the next one begins. So that's what makes us different, is being able to pull all this information out, even from large groups of bills. Now let's go and take a look at some of the other things that we can do. And real quick, this is that screenshot one that I did. I have a rule in here that says to collapse it, but so I'm going to just get rid of that rule. And so even on screenshots, copy and paste, I can do that type of stuff. Now, we also, what we just launched is the ability for Canadian companies as well. And Canada is it's very difficult because the way that it's you're taxed on things that you buy, you're taxed on things that you sell, but there's a reconciliation that goes on between what the tax you pay on purchases and then the tax you pay on sales. So that really needs to be detailed by the line item. So we've done some tremendous things for our folks up north as far as Canadian AP goes as well. Now, the other thing and the other reason I was saying that this is really great for these a little more complicated type clients is because of our ability to go into QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Sage, and NetSuite and pull out open purchase orders. The whole purchase order nightmare, if you have clients that use purchase orders, it is a nightmare. They have zombie purchase orders all over. And most of the time, what companies do is they just close them in a batch. So when a bill like this comes through, and we know there's open purchase orders because I can drop down and see open purchase orders, all I really need to do is review the purchase order. I can look at it. I can add them manually if I want, or I can use AI just to match those purchase orders. And so the other thing that's really difficult for people that use purchase orders is this price creep, right? And this is where it really affects a margin. We're going to alert you to price creep on all of these things. And we're going to let you know based on if it's a 10%, 15%, or over 20%, it will be in different colors to let you know, hey, there's some price creep going on here. So the other thing that's difficult about purchase orders is the one to many. So many purchase orders to one bill or many bills to one purchase order. We can take care of that as well. As you see, I'm going to a new bill here. And it looks like we got some open items. I'm just going to match those again. And then we have all of our purchase order items here matched up. It's taken care of the customer and job from the purchase order. Now, if there are price discrepancies like this, I can add an approver on the fly. So maybe it's Floyd the barber here. I've added him on the fly, and now I can also add a note to Floyd and say, hey, at Floyd, why is there a price discrepancy? So I can just do something like that. Now, Floyd's going to get an email, and he can review it either through email or login, however he wants to do it, respond, and then approve with his notes or reject it because there shouldn't be a price discrepancy. So now what happens when I approve this? It will actually go in, it updates my inventory level in QuickBooks Desktop, Online, or whatever package you have. But it will also close those purchase orders out that need to be closed. And it will, in fact, hold the ones open that maybe weren't fully fulfilled. So that's one of the things that we can do with purchase orders. Now, the other thing on this bill, and then I'll move to a next one really quickly, is that the terms say net 30. Well, we scan the correct terms, but the sneaky client or the sneaky vendor down here said, hey, we're going to give you a 1.5% discount if you pay it within 10 days. Well, because we scanned this and it's is kind of correct, but not 100%. Let's teach the system just by going, hey, it's net 30, but if I pay, but it's 1.5%, if paid in 10 days. So I just write it like I would just talk to a normal person. And our product is going to go in and say, hey, it's due in 30 days. But look it, if I pay it within 10 days, there's a 1.5% discount. Now that's already applied for Pittsburgh Air system, even though it only scanned the net 30. So those are some newer things that are in here. Now, the other thing.
Can I let you breathe for 30 seconds?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, I appreciate so much that, and Ted, you're my style, man. You went in there and just like go hot, go straight into the program. Don't mess around with context and all that stuff. For the folks that maybe missed the first 30 seconds, and then for a second we're like, what the heck are we? We're so deep into this thing that maybe don't kind of lost the context.
Right.
And especially because so many apps do the, upload the bill and it goes into QuickBooks type of thing. And people are like, well, everybody does that.
Yeah.
I want to go back and tell you, when I first saw MakersHub, this is 2022, prior to ChatGPT, even being within the context of the zeitgeist of today's world. And I saw a demo on MakersHub, and I saw how I uploaded a vendor bill and it extracted each line item. It gave me the choice to bring it in as an expense line or bring it in as an item in QuickBooks.
Yep.
Thinking of my clients who are a lot of manufacturers that buy a lot of parts and components and have to do a lot of that transcribing of the vendor bill into each line item. Maybe because we didn't do a detailed PO from the beginning, or maybe maybe they just ordered through the website or order over the phone. This solution just completely changed the mindset of what it looks like and what it feels like to be an in-house accountant that has to transcribe line items into your formal QuickBooks PO or your formal QuickBooks bill. No other app in the market works like this. These guys were doing AI before ChatGPT even existed, before there was an API, OpenAI connection that the whole world knew about. So what Ted is showing you, especially with the terms, where he's using natural language and the terms, and then is looking at your database of terms and translating that into, okay, if, based on this date, give this discount based on what you pay it. This stuff is pretty groundbreaking. Okay. So like I want to make sure that's just you're very conscious on what you're watching here, because no other app does this. Not Bill.com. Bill.com doesn't even get even close. The QuickBooks AI stuff is garbage. I mean, if you want a serious app to automate the PDF or physical document of bills and purchase orders into QuickBooks at a line level detail, that it reads every single line. And on top of that, which Ted won't even have a chance to even demo, but the rule system where you can tell it, hey, by the way, the word PVC means this item, even though it doesn't contain the PVC item, it means this other thing. That stuff is just really powerful. So Ted, I think I know, especially for those that want to get into accounts payable, into fractional CFO, helping their clients do just speed up this type of stuff, do advisory and do accounts payable. They're definitely going to request a demo from you and want to get more information. So I'm putting the poll up there. Ted, any last words before we switch?
Yeah. So what Hector was talking about just really quickly is that our integration mapping. And that's why I brought up the Cisco bill. Like I've said, hey, if it equals cheddar, automatically code it to the chart of account codes, cost of goods sold, dairy, and so on and so forth. As you can see through this, chicken wings goes to meat. And it's rule based, almost like you still do with bank rules that come down, right? But you're doing it at a detailed level, and all of this stuff gets line itemed in, like either as a category or as items or expense within QuickBooks.
Yeah, I want to reiterate, and we're gonna switch over to the next one, but Ted.
Yep.
But I want to reiterate that MakersHub is doing what no other software application is doing, which is we leverage AI, but give you the layer of human rule control. Everybody, even Intuit, gets this way wrong, where they think AI is about automating, and it really isn't. It's about understanding how the human behaves, and based on how the human behaves, automate what the human would do. Like everybody's AI is thinking like a robot, where MakersHub is saying, I can think like a robot if you tell the robot how to think. And I think that rule-based system is something that's completely I think it's what people like me, power users, people that want control. That's what people want. People don't want AI to be doing its own thing and doing guessing stuff. So Ted, we appreciate that very much.
Thanks,
We'll have
Hector.
some people want to get some personalized demos on that. And then Jason, our last demo for the day, Double, formerly known as Keeper. Jason, as soon as you share your screen, I'll stop sharing mine.
Sweet. Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Jason. I know some of you guys, I got the opportunity to meet at Reframe. Hopefully some of you guys here are Double users. I know a good portion were. But for those who have no idea what we do, this is the first time you've ever heard of us. The idea of Double is to eliminate the need to have your workflow be completely separate from the work you're actually doing. So as opposed to like managing your tasks over here for your bookkeeping and accounting workflow, but actually communicating with clients over here, sending reports from a different tool, and then going back into like a QBO or a Xero and doing the work itself. We try and bring that process together and make sure that you guys are being as efficient and as effective with your time as possible, because we actually hook up to both QBO and Xero and have a two-way sync. So
Jason, you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm about to share here.
Yeah. So we like the demos, man. That's what we like here.
People are visual learners.
Yeah.
I'm the same. So to give you guys an idea here of what we're looking at, this is Pixel Vista. So this is one of my clients, and this is one of their closes. So their September close. And this is the process that we want in place and the framework that we have for every time that we open up the next close. So the general tasks and those nuances that are associated with every client, you can have those up top here. But what it's doing is it's pulling in bank accounts and credit cards and other accounts that we want to be reconciling and giving us a visual down here of when the last time it was reconciled was. So that's when you're going to start to see that sync. Where the sync really comes into play is under this section with the transaction review, which is providing us a bunch of different reports to provide a framework for our team to know what needs to happen over in QBO or Xero, what things are missing information, where the inconsistencies are, and then allowing us to actually do that work right here and make those changes here. So some examples, knowing we only have a few minutes here, is like this top one. This is focused on anything that doesn't have a vendor, and then allows us to go and make that change right here, which is live pushed right back into your ledger. My favorite report here is the expense inconsistency, because this is flagging anything that's made it to the ledger that's likely incorrect based on the way it's been coded historically in that file. So for example, like Facebook's being flagged to us. Right now it's coded as software and apps. But the reason it's being flagged to us is we've always coded this as advertising and marketing in the past. So what it's doing is it's flagging to you, but it's also giving you all that historical data. So whether you've been working on this account for years or just a couple of weeks, you can go in here with confidence and make that change. So there are a bunch of reports here that come out of the box that you can choose to utilize, and which ones would be helpful for you or may not be relevant to your client. But like some of these are in relation to like catching things with parent accounts, catching any transactions that don't have classes, and then any other reports that are going to be helpful for that client, you can build out right down here.
One thing I want to add is some of you might say, oh, this looks similar to the client data review that QuickBooks Online has. The way Double is best in class is because QuickBooks is trying to copy them. And so at any point in time that you see QuickBooks trying to copy a software, which happens a lot in my world with RightTool, is happening with Keeper, is because they're doing it right and their users are telling them that they want this. And Jason's showing you one side of Keeper. So I also have a bookkeeping practice, not a tax practice, that use Keeper. And you're saying one facet of Keeper, which is the facet in which it connects to QuickBooks Online. And from the Keeper interface, you're able to make changes to the transactions. But there's another world that maybe you want to show us as well, so we get the full context of what Keeper is the practice management piece. It's the part where you have your tasks, where you complete your tasks, where you delegate your tasks, And if we have time,
Yeah.
maybe just show the reports really quick as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I want to make sure we don't skip over here, because I think being so connected with QBO and Zero, the ability to actually communicate on, transaction level questions is pretty huge. So you can do that on any transaction. Where it's going to probably live the most is when it comes to like uncats. So you're going to be able to ask questions directly on that transaction. Your clients are going to either receive this through, an email or a text, and they'll get a magic link that makes it super easy for them to go over and actually provide you with those answers. So this can be, a dedicated portal. You can choose what you want to be a part of this. You can have those, general questions for you. But the big piece of this is obviously how you communicate on the transaction level and how you guys as the accountants and bookkeepers go in and see that. And then based on that, you're actually pushing this back into the ledger. So that's one piece of the puzzle. What Hector's talking about, and I want to make sure we have the time here, is talking about like what this looks like firm wide. Before we do that, though, I do want to make sure that we touch on what's really relevant right now, which is 1099s, how that process works. So whether you're somebody who wants to collect this end of year or throughout the year, this is meant to support you and provided a really easy way for you to see those eligible vendors of who might require a 1099. So you can see that all up here. You can see whether you filed in the past for them, whether you already have one on file, and filter these out. But the beauty is it's also making it really easy for you to communicate with your client and collect those or the vendor, and then push that back into QBO or export over to like a third party if that's where you use it. It's going to give the reviewer on your team a boatload of resources to make that process as seamless as possible. Gives you a really easy way to send clear but valuable reports to your clients as well. So you can set the framework of what you want these reports to look like, what you want to be sharing with your clients, any key metrics that you want to share with them as well. And then it's going to automatically create a really awesome executive summary for those clients that might not be super financially versed to give them that value that you're looking for. When you go and publish this, you're going to share it right to the portal, and then you have the option to share it in an interactive format, meaning your clients wouldn't just see this in a stagnant form, but they're actually toggling through their metrics, drilling down in their P&L, and getting more value out of the work you and your team are already doing. So that's one piece of it. To what Hector is talking about, what we're looking at is for one client, one process, one close. Zooming out here, there are a few different places that you can see what's going on firm-wide. One of them that's really helpful is Kanban form. So like you're seeing high-level statuses of what's not started, what's done, what's here, waiting on a manager, and what's in the middle here. But if we want more detailed approaches, it's going to give you a dashboard that's going to show you exactly where you're at firm-wide, but from a top-down view. So which clients are working on, who's working on them, due dates and statuses of those closes, if we have any outstanding questions we need answered from the client. And then the rest of this is color-coded based on where we're at. So if it's green, that's fantastic. But if it's red, that means we're behind on the due dates we've set. Management go in here, see what's outstanding, make any corrections if need be. Or also, this is a great place to go and communicate back with your team and be like, how do we get this over the finish line? So that is super seamless, top-down view. I have some new features that I can share. Hector, how much time do we have?
We can go all the way up to like 3 more minutes so we can run the last polling question for the CPE.
Okay.
So can you show it in 3 minutes?
Yeah, I'll do the super top-down view. So for those clients that might be a little bit more complex closes, the accrual clients that we're dealing with like prepaids and amortization and stuff like that, instead of working over in Excel, you have the option to actually go and create those schedules straight from here. So like this is a software expense that I want pushed throughout the year. So I can go up over here, create
that schedule and post in like 3 seconds.
Oh,
So that's a cool new
that's
feature.
amazing. So that
Yeah.
that will post a bunch of bills and a bunch of journal entries, kind of like almost like a recurrent transaction, but one that follows accrual rules.
Exactly. So yeah, this is going to make that process really easy. And then when it comes to like clients that we're building a lot of journal entries off of, if it's a simple journal entry, like we can build that right here. But a nice new thing that has rolled out in the last couple of months is what we call AI journal entries. So for those complex documents that we're building journal entries off of, we can go over here and like, let's say it's like a mortgage statement or a HUD doc or something like that. It's going to scan that. We're going to give it a prompt of how we want things to be mapped and what this is. And then we're going to generate it here. If I had, a little bit more time.
You got my attention now. So that means we can upload our ADP summary payroll journal, and it will attempt to create a journal entry for me, so I don't have to think about this.
Exactly. So like you're still going to have to provide the framework here of like, hey, this is this document. This is how I want it mapped. Because like we talked about in the last demo, like this is meant to assist you, not take over.
Jason,
it makes it amazing.
In behalf of the entire community, thank you for creating useful AI. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the idea here. And then, yeah, it's going to build these out, and all we're doing is going and posting. So what used to be, sometimes for like those HUD docs, like 30 minutes of work and really tedious, like grinding work, you can do it with confidence in the matter of a minute. So
Jason, that was great.
I'll pass it back to you, Hector.
Right on time. As I mentioned earlier, my tax firm went to TaxDome because of the sort of tax heavy environment. My bookkeeping firm that uses QuickBooks mostly, actually QuickBooks Online only, uses Keeper because of that connectivity with QBO and integrating both the cleanup and closing process in QBO with tax completion, with delivery of financial reports. I haven't used that AI journal entry yet. I think that sounds like that's pretty new. I haven't even looked at that yet.
It's relatively new. It's been out for a couple months. And for those that want to try it out, actually, and that are already users of ours, you can go and you can upgrade one of your clients over in the settings, and we'll credit that back to you for this month. So
that's awesome.
From what we're running.
Okay, so I got the last polling question up. If you're interested in getting a personalized demo or more information about Double, formerly known as Keeper, the pricing, however it works, I'm sure Jason and his team will gladly give you the information that you need. Thank you very much, Jason and Carlos. Maybe we can close it up.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
So thanks, everyone. This concludes our day one of the two-day tech showcase. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where we have more partners joining us and on deck for day two. Let's first thank the partners who presented today. We had RightTool, Ramp, TaxDome, Wurthy, ADP, MakersHub, and Double. Fantastic demos. Thank you for being on time. Jam-packed value. For those of you who are interested or you want more information, tune in tomorrow. We can get you the information, but for those who answered in the polls, we'll make sure that we share that information so that you can learn more about those partners. And then up on deck for tomorrow, make sure you tune in. We'll have Fishbowl, Anchor, Flash Reports, Karbon, OnPay, and Basil, and we'll share some more information thanking some of our other experienced partners who will not be demoing, but still made a notable contribution to making Reframe happen. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. And today joining us are going to be several partners, those who joined us in our signature event last year, Reframe 2025, with the theme around pricing with confidence. And some of those partners throughout the last yesterday and today are going to be doing some quick demos for us around what's new in the world of accounting and the technology and the services that you can leverage to elevate your client's experience. So let me tell you a little bit more about this. So who's joining us today? Yesterday, we had the opportunity to hear from many other experienced partners, but today we're going to hear from Fishbowl, Anchor, Flash Reports, Karbon, OnPay, Basil, and we'll also mention a couple of other things about Reframe and about some of the other partners who are also contributed to the success of Reframe's big event last year. They won't do demos, but we'll do an honorable mention for them. So let's tell you a little bit more about Reframe. So Reframe, again, is a community for accounting professionals to help elevate their skill sets and their ability to better serve their clients by leveraging technology, networking, level up their mindset, pricing, marketing, and just their own business acumen so that they just can serve their clients better to achieve maximum transformation. We also have an online membership called Reframe Society, and today's actually the deadline to join the live mastermind cohort, which is we have 3 tiers that in which you can be part of this community. We have over 100 hours of recorded content that Hector and I have created, customized for the accounting community around leveling up your skill set and also learning from other accounting professionals just how to become better at your pricing, better at running your business, improve your mindset, your leadership, your communication, etc. So the Learn tier is for $500 a year, and it'll give you access to all the recorded content. However, you won't join the live conversations, and you won't be able to do the live networking, but you can, in essence, watch all of the recordings as they get uploaded. The master program, which today is the last day to join, is $2,000 a year, and we do this by semesters, which is by 6 months. So it's a 6-month subscription, $1,000 per 6 months, and it renews automatically unless you decide to cancel. And we will have monthly masterminds and quarterly teachings from Hector that will be introducing a brand new topic every quarter. And then the lead program is our signature flagship program for more one-on-one mentorship, from Hector and myself around elevating your authority and your thought leadership. So if you want to learn more about that, you'll see information in the chat of how to be part of the Reframe Society. Today's the last day to be part of that on the live session. So again, as we talked about before, yesterday and today is the 2-day tech showcase. This is recorded. We will be uploading it to YouTube later this evening or this weekend on Hector's YouTube channel. If you want CPE, you have to attend the entire session, and it has to be live, and you must answer all the polling questions. Hector just threw out a polling question, so make sure that you do answer it if you do see it in front of you. And Hector, anything to add on that?
No, that's it. So we need at least 6 polling questions in total to be able to get your 2 hours of CPE. And we're going to run a little bit more. We're going to probably do about 8.
Great. Okay, so quick thank you to all our partners, and then we'll jump right in. So our headline partner, RightTool, who presented yesterday. We had gold partners, Fishbowl will be joining us today, Ramp, who presented yesterday. Our silver partners, Anchor, Finatical Software, TaxDome, Double, formerly known as Keeper, MakersHub, Wurthy, OnPay, Karbon, ADP, and Basil. And then a notable mention to partners who will not present demos, but were also a big part of Reframe, Noify, Avalara, Merrill, and Mercury. So with that, we're going to head and introduce Kendrick from Fishbowl, who's going to talk to us a little bit about Fishbowl inventory. Hi, Kendrick.
Hey, Carlos, how are you?
Great.
Thanks so much for having me.
The floor is yours. I think you can share your screen now if you want to just take it away.
Perfect. All right. Appreciate the time. Excited to talk a little bit about Fishbowl. Let me just get that screen share up and going here. And
we can't see it yet.
Nope. All right. Apologies. Zoom's giving me a fit.
It happens. I'll make a co-host just in case it kicks things into gear. There you go.
How do we do? Is that coming through all right now?
Perfect.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Hector. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Fishbowl, we've been solving inventory, warehousing, manufacturing problems for small business to mid-market for about 25 years now. We've got a real comprehensive suite of solutions that cover all sorts of industries and verticals, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But at a quick glance, Fishbowl, as I mentioned, has been around for 25 years. We've been the #1 requested QuickBooks integration partner for many years now. We started back in 2003, and we've continually evolved over the years. Obviously, as the market has changed and grown, we have too. And at this point, we've got 6,000 plus businesses representing about 80,000 users across the globe, offices in Utah, Brisbane, Australia, Singapore, and just launched in the UK. So we've got a global presence, but the majority of the work that we do is right here in the United States. We have been for a while now a gold partner with Intuit on the ISV program, or the earlier version, and now a QSP partner too. So a lot going on, tight coupling integration. We do also integrate with other accounting platforms like Xero, and run well as a standalone too. But a little bit on what Fishbowl is and does. We're really focused in on making sure that clients can be successful right out the gate. And one of the differentiators is that our team actually goes through and handles all of the implementation and support. We have a bit of a unique model where almost all our folks are in office here in the US, and we've got time zone based support that really matches up with where clients are at and what they need. And the implementation process is something that we handle in-house as well. So if you're wondering, is this something that I want to get into tackling? We tend to talk to a lot of accountants and consultants and advisory firms who shy away from inventory and manufacturing clients due to the complexity. And no two bits about it, there is some complexity there. The great news is that with Fishbowl, we are your implementation partner to make sure that as you reach out to your clients who may have inventory or e-commerce or manufacturing needs, we're there to collaborate with you and provide all that they and you may need as part of that process. There's on-demand product training as well as scheduled training. We also do all of the data migration as part of that. And I know, as you know, the most important thing is to get good data in. So we learned years ago that it's important to get the information set up correctly and then to train the customer on what needs to be done. And so we handle that entire lift of getting up and going, the data into Fishbowl and then trained. And not only that, along the way, they have a dedicated individual implementation specialist who, if they're a client in automotive, we know folks that understand DOT regulation. If they're in food and beverage, we have implementation team members who can speak directly to CRF 21 Part 11, which is software compliance for food industry and recall process and all of those types of things. There's a lot of knowledge baked right into that implementation process. Once they get up and running, which typically takes about 4 to 6 weeks, including that whole data process going live and then ensuring that they can sync their data over to QuickBooks, there's also a dedicated account manager who will be with them for the entirety of their experience. So they have one back to pat, one throat choke. There's always somebody that they can work with and be directly associated to. So it's not just a software you sell them along, but an entire experience, and that really drives the success. So folks can get ahead and stay that way. Lots to cover there, but for the sake of time, I want to talk a little bit about what we've been up to for the last year or so, which is AI manufacturing. So there's a lot of buzz around AI.
Kendrick, I just want to ask you, you guys are your gold sponsors, so you have a little bit more time than everybody else. We would like to leave a lot of these things for like Q&A. Could we jump into a demo really quick if people really want to see demos?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right to it. So switch my screen up here, Hector, and let's look at the product. That's the most exciting part anyway, right?
For me anyway, I'm a product nerd. we still see the slides. There we go. We see the product now.
Did it come through? Okay, fantastic. So this is Fishbowl Inventory, a cloud-native solution designed to help with inventory control and management from a high-level perspective, a little bit of flow information, just a top-level capture. We're handling all things product-related, right? So materials, items, and inventory, sales processes, manufacturing details, purchasing, accounting integration, etc. And all of that is designed to help customers ultimately get what's happening on a day-to-day basis and flowing information over into their finances, right? So when you think about what are the activities happening, raising sales orders is one of the very most basic things. And when we go into this, there's a pretty straightforward process, and lots of tools do something like this. But where we've really started to shine, and where I want to focus today, because I know we have just a short amount of time, is in our manufacturing aspect. So imagine, if you will, for a moment, a client who they produce widgets, they build things. So we've got a sales order that we'll put through, and we're going to just grab a customer real quick, say that we've got a widget that they want to buy. We're going to sell them this extreme mountain bike. And so we'll add the item to the order, issue that, which puts it into flow. and now there's some inventory impact. Well, there's a whole cascading flow of events that just happened on the back end to this order that I created, because I may have stock already on the shelves, I may have purchase orders that are incoming, or I may not, and I need to get those things flowing in order to take care of business. So quick flash over to our materials section. The building blocks of Fishbowl and an inventory are the parts, right? So raw goods and finished materials and work in process, all of those are captured here in our items list. The items that I have in stock are going to be part of my inventory, and I can jump in and see what I've got and where it's at, how many may be allocated, and different details, like which warehouse it may be in. And that all flows into this manufacturing flow. Now, if you're not familiar to manufacturing, the premise is that there's a recipe or a bill of materials that explains what are the things that I need to build. So on that sales order I just entered, I have a list of items, the raw goods that I'm going to consume. We're all familiar to a bicycle, so I've got a frame and handlebars and wheels and a seat and all those things, and that makes up my raw materials in this case. Those raw materials come together to create what is the finished good. Now we can go far more complex than that in raw materials that become semi-finished goods and work in process items, and there may be stages and options and choices, but the net of it is there's a bill of materials or a recipe, information like the cost to build that relative to the raw goods, steps to assemble, time to build, all of those things kind of lead into that. But ultimately, it drives into a flow of production planning. And this is where I get really excited to talk about what Fishbowl can do to really change the way that businesses operate. So you can see here we already have some orders in flow, some that are started. In some occasions it's a single day event. Others may span multiple days or even weeks to get that done. But it gives an idea of what are the orders that need to be completed in order to meet my demand. There's this whole other aspect to it, though, that businesses have struggled with for decades, which is knowing what to build and when to build it. And then the precursor to that is when to buy and when to buy it. So we've developed some AI-powered tools like our auto manufacturing solution. This will look at all of the open orders that I've got and make suggestions for what I need to build relative to my schedule. So you can see here, I have 4 different items based on sales that have come through the door. They may have come across e-commerce sites like Shopify or Amazon. I have a rep that picked up a phone and entered a sales order manually. A customer emailed me. All those different ways come together. The net of it is these are the things that I need to build. So I get a list of those materials that need to go through, and Fishbowl can automatically generate those work orders. So I'm going to say, yes, let's go ahead and get those generated. We'll schedule those in. That's well and fine. Well, that's part of the process. But we also need to think through what are the materials that I need to buy in order for that to happen. So we've got an auto purchasing solution that'll look at what do I have on hand? What does my demand look like? What other orders do I already have outstanding? And so what my shortage quantities are. And this is fairly traditional to what we're doing. I want to add one more layer into this process, which is that while we can go through and look at order by order and item by item, we can also jump into Juno, our online chat. So we have an AI assistant with agentic capabilities, and I can ask questions directly and actually perform actions. So you can see here, I've just asked the question, what are my longest lead time items? And Juno will come back and tell me, these are the things that you need to do. Now, that's part of the process, but really, it gets even better when Juno can take hold of doing things for me and helping out like a virtual employee to make the process go even that much faster. So we get suggested actions, like we can check the current stock of our lead times. We can also say, what are the things I need to buy?
While that answers that, Kendrick, I'd like to add some context to here, because I know a lot of accounting professionals don't dabble in inventory at all. So QuickBooks Online Plus, and the reason why I contextualize it like this is because Fishbowl is designed to connect with QuickBooks Online. I don't know if does it do Xero as well or just QuickBooks Online?
Xero as well,
okay,
but primarily QBO.
All right. So on most of the GLs that us accounting professionals are in day to day, right, with like QuickBooks or Xero, the QuickBooks Online and Xero ecosystems are horrible with inventory. Like they have buttons that say inventory, but they're pretty much useless. So anyone that wants to know what items they have in stock what's pending, what was sold, and most importantly, what is the profit per item. So the cost of goods sold get booked on every single sale individually as the individual items get booked in your GL. You need a system like this. A QuickBooks is complete garbage for this, okay? And whether you are a wholesaler or manufacturer that sells direct to customer or is B2B, or you're in the combination of e-commerce world where you have a Shopify or some other website, you want to automate this process. You don't want to be entering these things by hand. And like, Kendrick kind of like fast forwarded to those that have experience dealing with customers that deal with ordering product, replenishing product, and the purchase order process is a very it's a very time consuming process that generally takes a lot of manual labor of checking this and projecting that. And what he's showing is an actual real use case of AI. Take a look at what does actual sales trends look like? What are the outstanding POs? How much items you have in stock? And could you predict what is the correct amount of items that need to be purchased to replenish your stock? I mean, that's how you get smaller, medium-sized companies that sell inventory to compete with the Amazons of the world. Because I guarantee you that you ask any of your clients that do inventory or e-commerce, and you tell them what their biggest challenge is that they're increasingly having to compete with the automated systems that Amazon has. And it's very, very difficult to turn a profit when these companies sell so cheap because they have all these things automated. So what Kendrick is showing you is how these guys figured out this is how we can leverage AI. This is how our small business clients, our medium-sized inventory manufacturing type businesses can leverage AI. So I wanted to give that context because I teach a lot of people inventory from zero, and a lot of accountants go, oh, okay, I get it. I just never had a client to deal with that. So it's hard to kind of build that bridge.
Oh, thank you, Hector. Great perspective. So you can see that we've jumped back in. Fishbowl's telling us what are the things that need to buy, and then it'll take it a step further and actually just create those orders for us. So suggested action is to create purchase orders for these items. I say yes, and it goes to it. Real fast, one of the items that I think is so exciting for us to see. I had the chance yesterday to go visit, so apologies, I missed yesterday's session. I was actually on site with a customer. They started about 8 years ago, and to Hector's point, they were just selling on Amazon and eBay. They sell automotive parts, and they were completely overwhelmed using spreadsheets and trying to hold things together with QuickBooks. They found Fishbowl, and they've been able to leverage exactly what I've just showed you here. And they've grown the business from 2 employees and about $1 million in revenue and 80-hour work weeks to 22 employees, almost 15 million in revenue. And they all take off to go golf or mountain bike in the afternoons because they're caught up on their work and orders continue to flow in. So it's just amazing how using and leveraging technology and AI in the right places can transform those businesses. Everything comes back together, and the net of all of this is that we need to get the actions happening from Fishbowl over into QuickBooks or into Xero. So whatever actions and orders I fulfill here in Fishbowl flow right over through our integration. I can see the details running back from Fishbowl into QuickBooks, but all of that day-to-day operational detail on manufacturing and production planning and order scheduling, Fishbowl is there as a lockstep tool for QuickBooks and for you working with your clients. So I know we're coming quick up onto time. Any questions or other areas that you'd like me to focus on, Hector?
Yeah, Kendrick, we're gonna make the transition, and I will allow you to answer some of the questions afterwards. I wanted to just ask you a quick question, just for people, so people can wrap their head around it. So, how much does Fishbowl cost? Is it per user? Does it come with a bunch of users? What is the investment that our clients need to make to consider adding inventory and manufacturing to their QBO workflow?
Yeah, great question, Hector. So we've got a range of costs. We're obviously targeting a small business. And so we have users that start out as low as $99 per month. It is per user. So there's no fee for volume or items or order count. It's really straightforward, basic pricing. Number of seats that they need is how that rolls in. It scales from about $99 to $250, depending on the complexity that they might need. And we're happy to provide some more detail. We've got a partner program as well that I should mention real quick. So if you're interested in learning more, drop us a line. I think we'll drop a quick link in the chat, and we can provide you all the detail that you might need.
Okay, so I put a polling question up if people are interested on talking to Kendrick or someone from Fishbowl. So if they put yes, it's either interested on the software or interested on the partner program, so they can sort of resell or recommend this product to their clients, right?
That's exactly it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, Kendrick. Carlos, let's go ahead and make the transition to our friend from Anchor.
Great. Do we have our partners from Anchor?
Yes, of course, right here.
Hey there. Hi, Jaime. Anchor, thank you for joining us today. You have the floor. Go ahead and share your screen.
Awesome.
And let's dive right in.
Yeah, of course. Before I share my screen, just wanted to give you a quick background and context here on Anchor. I'm Jaime Alfaro, advisor here at Anchor, and you can think of Anchor as three main parts. First, it's going to be an advanced proposal tool that you can build packages, optional services, automatic annual price increases, and whenever your client signs the document, they'll also connect their payment method. This could be through ACH or credit card. If it's ACH, it's completely free. Credit card fees default on the client, so you don't have to eat any credit card fees. And also, all communication will come directly from your own email domain. This could be Gmail or Outlook. The second piece to Anchor is that we'll connect to your general ledger directly. It could be QBO or Xero. We'll take care of the entire reconciliation process on the background. And we'll also connect to your favorite project management tools like Double, Karbon, Financial Sense, Client Hub, etc. I'll show you guys a little bit more around the integrations. And the third piece, which makes this really powerful, is that you have a live agreement. So whenever a change happens, change of scope, change of service, anything like that, instead of sending a brand new agreement within Anchor, you simply hit edit, you make the change, save changes, notify your client is notified of the change, and then your client's going to have, say, 5-10 days to accept or reject the change. You can decide on that time frame. And if your client doesn't reject the change, it will be automatically processed, right? So invoice is going to go out and money is going to come in directly. So here, let me share my screen and show you Anchor.
Some additional context around this, just to wrap people's head around this.
Yep.
This is not a practice management software, so it's not here to replace Karbon or Double or TaxDome or Basil or whatever practice management software you use. This is a proposal, agreement, and payment system. Okay, and there's probably a couple of competitors in the market. Some people compare it to Ignition. I know a lot of people use Ignition and they love it. What I like about Anchor is, number one, its simplicity from the perspective of what the client sees. And Jaime, I want to make sure that you do spend the time showing what it looks like on the customer side, because to me, the number one selling point, and I've been using Anchor for 3 years, and I have consulted with Anchor, and a lot of the features in Anchor I've had direct input on. It's because of how easy it is for the customer to sign the agreement and pay you. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what matters. Software like Ignition is awesome, super powerful, but it's a gazillion clicks, right? And I think what Anchor nails is making it super easy for the customer to agree to work with you. So make sure you spend some time on that, please, just from my particular experience. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So team, welcome to Anchor. This is going to be your main dashboard. On the right-hand side, you're going to have visibility into your agreements, what's active, what's waiting for approval. On the left-hand side, you're going to have visibility into your invoices. And then if anything requires attention, we'll notify you, such as payment failures. So again, all communication comes from your own email domain. So if a payment fails, we'll notify your client, notify you as well. Here at the bottom, you have visibility into your revenue, on what you earned this year, what's expected, the status of your payouts, and then also the status of your proposals here at the bottom. Let's jump to your services. So here is where you can standardize your services. We can import services or create a brand new service. So here, if I create a brand new service. So in services, you can think about it as 3 ways: service name, scope of service, and then the behavior of the service on the right-hand side. So here I can say, hey, tax advisory. Yep. And then we have an AI tool that can help you pre-fill this out for you. We'll insert it.
I wonder whose idea that was.
And on the right-hand side, again, we have that behavior of it, right? So how do you want to bill your client? Is it going to be one time, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly? And we can also do it in stages, right? You could do 50% up front, 50 upon completion. On the right-hand side, let's go to the pricing. So how do you want to bill your clients? Is it going to be price per hour? So you got billable hours, you can set pre-approval amounts. So this is where your client can say, hey, between you and I, let's agree to, 10 hours, right? So if I agree to 10 hours, 10 hours are going to be automatically approved. And we can do the same thing for units, maybe for 1099s, right? So if you're dealing with 1099s around this time around, you can talk to your client and say, hey, let's pre-approve up to 15 1099s, etc. Right? And then we also have a price range. So price range is really important. So let's say you're going to do taxes with one of your clients, and you don't know if your client maybe sold their home in New York and then bought another one in Miami, and then now they have something going on in Hawaii. So then you have your client like, hey, the tax, the price is going to be a little bit different than last time. So you can agree with your client, hey, this is going to run you anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500. Anywhere between that, it's going to be automatically approved. Anything more than $1,500 is going to require your permissions, right? So that's for the services. Now let's build a proposal here. So there's a couple of different ways we can build a proposal. We can do it in bulk. So we can do thousands of proposals at once. We can get it done in a couple hours. It's a service that we can provide for you. We can do it from scratch or from a template. So here I'm going to use a template. Now with Anchor, there's only 4 parts to this. You have the agreement details, the the services provided, payment settings, agreement terms. That's it. Starting from the top, you have the agreement name, the contact, so you can pull this from your QBO or Xero. If you want to add additional recipients, we could do that as well. When do you want this to start? It's going to be on acceptance or on a specific date. You can additionally do an introductory message for your client, or maybe for your hiring clients, you want to do like a little YouTube, Vimeo, or Loom. You can add that into there. You can set an expiration for the proposal as well. And then at the bottom, we have your packages. So you can have it as a package, as a variety of different services, or we could also do bundles, right? So here you can customize these packages, like, bronze, silver, gold, all inclusive, etc. Here's your package. If you want to change the price of it, you can just do it from a click of a button. If you want to add a discount, we can add a discount real quick. You can decide when you want the billings to be initiated on a specific time, when you want the billing to be done upfront, etc. But here's where things get really powerful for firms in general. We can add an automatic annual price increase, right? So let's say I add it by 5%. You can have it in the agreement built in there, so that way, the expectation is set that the price is going to go up by 5%, right? And then we also have like a negotiation mechanism, right? So if you provide discounts today, I can give it like I did before, 5% discount, or let's say a 10% discount. But I'm gonna make this contingent that I'll give you a 5% or 10% discount only if this is accepted within a certain time frame, right? Within 30 days, or let's say within 10 days or 6 days, etc. Here are your services. If you want to add new services, you can add new services, your payment settings, right? So by default, we have it so the client pays for this credit card fees, and then the agreement terms, right? So you can upload your own agreement terms, etc., your engagement letters, all of this. Again, what I'm showing you here, it's the proposal, it's the invoice, it's the engagement letter, all in one place.
I just want to add one more.
Go ahead, Hector.
Piece of context. So Jaime, you and I are just meeting for the first time, okay? But
Yes.
I've known the Anchor people for several years, and I've seen the development of all these little options, and it's just mind blowing the amount of combinations of things where like that you can build with this. And this is all firm feedback. I know our firm has given them feedback. I know many firms have given them feedback, and they're really good at listening and understanding the use case. And they go, oh, okay, I understand. And that's where all these little tiny moving parts, if you go up again about on the options that you have on each of their services.
Yes.
So you didn't cover, let's leave the monthly bookkeeping one there, and then go down to maybe like switch to the advanced one, because that third one is an all-inclusive. So let's go to the advanced one, and let's grab these financial services. You see how it says mark as optional? This is really neat, okay? Because sometimes you're going to be in your sales presentation with your client, and you're going to say, look, we're going to offer monthly bookkeeping, optional tax return at the end of the year, $1,000 or whatever, optional payroll services, optional sales tax services, whatever it is. And then what happens is they'll say no to the option verbally when you're talking to them, via Zoom or whatever. But then when they get a chance to look at the proposal and they see a little checkbox where they can simply just add it, many people that have that sort of fear and commitment when they're talking to you in person. But after they get a chance to look at it, they go, might as well, let me just go. So like I've seen in my firm, the amount of people that have upgraded in terms of like what you call cross-selling services, because you give them that option, has been incredible. Now, if you see that it's Marcus optional and it's included by default, and Marcus optional and it's not included by default. So if in the conversation with your client, if they say, yeah, I'm definitely interested in the advisory, but you made it clear that it's optional, then you pick that is not included. That you pick that is included. But then if it's something that it's nice to have, they didn't say yes to it, but you don't want to remove it from the table, then you use this option that says not included. So I wanted to give you this context because what I want you to show, Jaime, is it Jaime or Jaime?
It's Jaime. It's Jaime.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. So Jaime, the context is I want you to show us what it looks like on the client side, and I want you to put yourself in the client's shoes. Yeah, go ahead. So
no worries. We'll get
context. Go to the context of what it feels to the client to then make that choice right before they sign the agreement.
Yeah, of course. We'll get to that. So here again, you get to get the terms of service, and then the automatically approve amendments, right? So you can decide the time frame, 1 or 2 days, 5 days, etc. And finally, we're going to get to that client preview, right? So this is exactly what your client's going to see. Keep in mind, we can customize this to your own branding. So we can change the color of this. If you want this purple, if you want it black, gold, whatever, you can upload your own logo and customize it to your branding. First, you're going to get an introductory message.
Go back for a second.
Get a welcome video. Yes.
Go back for a second. There's one thing I really like. Again, I'm excited about these things because I was part of the process when they developed a lot of these things. On the top right, there's a thing that says download as a PDF. A lot of people like to print their agreements. They like to have it. They like to have a printed version of it. They like to read it. They like to, mark it. A lot of folks don't sign things from a computer. They just don't like it. So having the ability to download those agreements, having the printed version, the PDF, is a really powerful feature. So if you wanted to add that context, go ahead.
Thank you, Hector. Yep. So here we'll get the introduction, a welcome video. Here are your packages, right? So you can use starter, advanced, all-inclusive. So if I go to my all-inclusive, we'll tell you, hey, there's a 10% discount here. This is what's included. We also have QBO cleanup. And then we have the additional services, just like Hector mentioned, right? So I'm sure that everyone here is probably the exception that no one's calling you for a quick 5-minute call, right? And then that 5-minute call turns into an hour. So here you can set those expectations with your client. Hey, financial advisory is $150 the hour, and they can add it as a service, right? Just like Hector mentioned. Or let's say their tax return, they want to do their tax return for 2025. Okay, they can add it as a service as well. So now all of a sudden you just did an upsell from, of an extra, $2,000 or so, right? And then here's your billing schedule.
And I want to add one more thing to that. Just go back for a second. So, and this is just very dear to my heart, just because I have experimented so much with that sales process, bundling, unbundling. This has been 18 years of practice of me every single year figuring out what's the best formula. If you are both an accounting practice and a tax practice, And whether your primary accounting and your upsell is tax, or your primary tax and your upsell is bookkeeping, when you present a proposal, right? And you present the fact that if they bundle, they get a discount, and it's very clearly displayed here, people are much, much likely to close. Even if doing, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, even if doing the sales presentation, they didn't explicitly agree saying it's a good idea, I want a bundle, they're more likely once it's visually presented to them. So particularly what I like about Anchor is that it finishes and closes the sale for you. Like you still need to have a good brand. You still have to inspire confidence. You still need to, sell the fact that you can do and solve the problem the client has. But what this does is it helps you complete that sale, and the probabilities of client, this is regardless of whether you use Anchor or a different system, the probabilities of selling more services go up when they see the power of that bundle.
Thank you for that. Yep. So here are your terms of service, additional terms of service. And then finally, your client can connect their payment method, right? So if it's credit card or ACH, they have those options right there. And then once they
I'm gonna add one more thing to this. So you have the option as an Anchor user to force the client to have to add the payment method in order for them to agree. So like the agreement is not set until they set a payment method, which means that your relationship with your client, it's implied that they're securing the payment before you move forward. Some people actually choose to turn this off. You can actually turn this off so the client can sign the agreement, and then you can allow Anchor to just send the invoice to the client on a monthly basis if your client still pays you with a check or whatever it happens to be. So you have both options. Of course, what I recommend my fellow accountants is, do it everything automated like this, because that's really the value proposition, is that you get the money conversation out of the way and you can focus 100% of your energy on serving your client and adding value, instead of like 10 or 15% of what a lot of traditional accounting firms report as the time that they spend doing admin and billing work. So what this does allows you to re-energize your firm to focus on adding value if you collect a payment as part of the agreement. And one of the things that helped me a lot is some clients came to me, especially the ones that are current clients that we're on a, like, send them an invoice, send me a check basis, and we move to this. Our clients go, hey, I can't sign the agreement. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why can't you sign the agreement? It's stuck on the payment page. And then the answer is, well, you got to enter that to sign the agreement. They're like, well, I want to send you a check. All you can say is, sorry, we moved to a new platform. And that's it, right? So you use the excuse that you moved into a new platform to also fundamentally change your relationship, your monetary relationship with your client. And who's got time to deal with checks nowadays? So I strongly recommend that we do that. So that's like my sales pitch at the end. Jaime, I'll let you one more minute. Anything else you want to cover, and then we'll transition.
I have a little bit more to cover, but to add to that point, that also helps eliminate a lot of AR right on your end.
I would prefer. I think we gave people enough context. I think let's just move into like how much Anchor costs, so people understand the context, and then we'll move to the next demo.
Not a problem. So with Anchor, it's very, very simple. There's no contract, no monthly subscription. It's just simply $5 per invoice paid. So we don't get paid until you get paid. So if you have a $10,000 invoice, you get $9,995. We get $5. Very simple.
And that's when they pay via ACH. If they pay via credit card, there's obviously still a credit card fee that they have to pay, because
but your client pays for that.
To be clear, your client has the option, that you have the choice to pass the fee over to the client. And by the way, that also helps a lot to remove that conversation that goes, look, sorry, my platform charges a fee if you use a credit card, and your clients are more likely to nudge themselves into paying via ACH. So I'm going to run a polling question. If you're interested in getting more information about Anchor, I strongly recommend, if you don't use Anchor, by the way, I strongly recommend you at least look at it. There's like almost zero monetary commitment for you to start using it. You start using it right away. These folks are amazing at helping you onboard, setting up your products and services list, setting up your packages. It's incredible. And I would say like 99% of people that I talk to rave about Anchor. It's just, it's bottom line, probably one of the best solutions in the market for any professional firms. Jaime, thank you very much, man. And we'll switch over to Chris. All right. So we got Chris from Finatical Software Flash Reports. Chris, you can share your screen right away. Honestly, for your app, we don't need context. The minute we see it, we understand 100%. So go ahead.
Thank you, Hector, and thank you, Carlos. Good being with you guys again. And yeah, Hector, do you think that is appropriate, maybe to share one or two slides, or do you think it's just to jump straight into a demo?
I would do one slide with your value proposition, and then let's go straight to the demo, and then we'll do any Q&As afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so maybe just briefly about the story of the company. Formed by accountants, and we were in the enterprise reporting space as well. We used sophisticated BI tools, but somehow when we did reporting, the data always found itself to Excel, right? Because we needed to add columns, do more additional calculations, do manipulation. And but what frustrated us with that process was that when it's in Excel, it's static, right? So it's static data. And so that's how we devised the process of actually making this data come alive. And just so that if we do build templates or any type of custom reports, that those reports are refreshable directly within Excel. And so that really is the process that we're passionate about solving, and that's how Finatical and Flash reports came about. Okay, I'm going to jump into a demo here, and so what we can see here is essentially just standard Excel. So first of all, how do you get the app? It's just here in standard Excel. You just go to add-ins, and within add-ins, you just search for Finatical, or you can search for Flash reports. There it is over there. You click add, and then this ribbon appears over here. You can then log in, and when you log in, I logged in just prior to this. So essentially my password would be probably still be there. So let's quickly log in again. And so this creates that direct connection between your Excel, either in the web, right, or in the desktop version, and QuickBooks Online. So you create the connection, and then you can also connect multiple companies to your desktop as well. So here, I'm not going to connect to the companies, but here I'm already connected to 3 different companies over here, and then there we can see them over there. Okay, so there's a whole ribbon, various choices here. And so here we select a specific company. So instead of us providing 300 templates, what we've done is that there's essentially a process that you can step through to build any custom template. So for each one of these, you just step through the wizard and you make various selections. And in the next selections, you can choose whether you want to build, what dimensions you want as columns, what do you want as rows. And then there's a whole, various process or various choices that you can make. Also in terms of building dashboards as well. And, there's also industry reports as well, as an example, that are templates specifically for nonprofits, right? So there's various nonprofit templates that you can also run and execute and save as well. But what I'm going to start off with is just building a quick basic report, because the value essentially just of Flash is just in terms of building a report, saving that report, and then being able to refresh those data directly here, within Excel. So I'm just going to go use the quick start, and I'm going to build a basic report. And what I'm going to do then is just, manipulate it and make some changes to it, and then we make, we can basically see that we can refresh it. Yeah. So here, the crux of Flash here is this formula we can see up here, and this makes use of cell referencing to populate it with the parameters that are needed in order to get fresh values from QBO. So what we see here, right, if for this formula, I've got to tell it where to go, what company I want to refresh, and then we can see that points here to cell A1. Start and end date, we can see here points to, B3 and B4. End date here to that, and then actual to budget is there to B6. So with this now, if I go and change this, my date parameter, and I'm just going to type in here this month, there we can see then it passes new queries over to QBO and brings the results back here into Microsoft Excel. So let's build a quick report. So let's just say I want a last month, this month comparison. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just basically copy paste that cell over, and let's change that back to back to last month over there. And this is this month, and let's just say this is a variance column over here, right, that we want to build. And let's just say I'm going to take that minus that one. And there we've got a variance column over there. Copy this down. I like this formatting. So what I'm going to do here is essentially just copy that formatting over. What we're also able to do here is add calculations at the column, or at the row level. So let's just say in any chart of accounts or any report, let's just say I want to put in, let's say, margin calculations here at the row level. I can, for example, for this ancillary revenue, I'm just going to take that as a percentage of that. And, standard Excel, I'm change that formatting over there. And then here, I basically have built a report. I can change these dimensions now. So let's just say, I want to run this now for different periods. So let's just say I'm going to take that for last quarter, right? So I'm going to change that essentially, let's say, to last quarter. And I'm going to change that to, this quarter. And so there we can see, but we can see my calculations, just dynamically update as well.
Chris, I'm gonna just answer some of the questions that you comment on them that we have here. First of all, fellow Excel nerds are in the edge of their seat right now. Like, the minute you show formulas, people are going nuts, knowing that they can access your QuickBooks data with Excel formulas. It's pretty amazing. First question that people get here is like, why would I do this instead of a built-in QuickBooks report? So my first answer to that is those custom calculations like Chris did, okay? Like every business owner, every business manager has their own way that they want to interpret the data. QuickBooks does have some KPIs and that sort of thing, but they're usually very limited and they're not very creative. And every business owner has their own way they want to track things. Now, once you build this, you save the Excel file as a template and you load it, a month later, a week later, the day later. If the QuickBooks data changes, the report dynamically changes. That's the single most important thing to keep in mind. Right now, you're not using fixed dates. You're using dynamic date ranges like last quarter, this quarter. So once you build the report once, every single month, you open up your Excel file that has flash reports in it. You click on refresh and all your data dynamically refreshes in it. Something that you get that with QuickBooks, but you don't get the customization aspect of it. So that's kind of the first question. The second question is, how does this compare to spreadsheet sync? So Chris, I'm going to be the one that says the non-politically correct answer. You can say the politically correct answer. It's because spreadsheet sync is basically complete hot pile of garbage when it comes to building custom reports. And it's not reliable, and you cannot go in there at the granular level and be able to build reports like this. The other thing that you don't get with spreadsheet sync is the ability to drill down. Do you want to show a drill down, Chris, maybe to see how that works?
Sure. I'll just click on that cell and then click drill down and execute another query, and then opens up a new sheet here with all the drill down details, and so obviously this is just test data, but if you have a lot, you can use, Excel for pivot tables and, to summarize or restructure that data.
Chris, do you have a template for budgets? Because like the number one request that I get of custom reports that we in our firm, we do a lot of custom reporting. Number one request that we get of things that we usually cannot help them with is with budget. So you have any budget templates that you can show?
Okay. So just to answer your question about spreadsheet sync as well. So the difference in technology is also between us and spreadsheet sync. Spreadsheet sync actually publishes to Excel, so it always overwrites the format of your report, so even in terms of your numbers, so any formatting is overwritten. Whereas with us, the formatting is maintained, so just from a technology perspective is the difference. Carlos, and then, sorry, Hector, if you ask about budget, what type of budget are we talking about? So we can obviously change.
The most common thing that people ask is those comparisons, like, for example, being able to see last month budget versus actual, plus year-to-date budget versus actual, plus last year's budget versus actual. Like those three things are like the holy trinity of budget reporting, and QuickBooks can give you 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, and we give you everything. So essentially just here, I'm just copying those 3 columns over, right? So basically here, you can see here, I can change this to last month. This is basically, I can make this one this year to last month. And, this quarter to date, you can compare budget versus actuals. So there's essentially no limitation, Hector. And to that point, It's just, because I think there's actually a question very much that we see is used in the nonprofit industry. And then we've actually built this template for budget performance. So folks can actually just execute that, and you can filter it by any of the dimensions as well. In this demo database, I've just got a budget in here. So I'm just going to run this template. So here we've actually built it out here. So here we can see essentially an example of just what you were mentioning. So there's, for example, actual versus budget and a variance for this month. This is my year-to-date number, right? For last year, December versus budget. We're just, putting in the template some variance calculations with some conditional formatting. There's your budget for the whole year. That's what's remaining. And that's a remaining percentage. Yeah, but this is Excel, so folks can manipulate and delete columns, add columns any way they want to.
Exactly. So you could just manually change that date range over there and just show 1 month, and then show last year, and then show, the budget for next year if you want to, even though it's not going to have any actual data. You can see the budget for next year, and that pulls all the data from QuickBooks, which is particularly important because most apps that talk to QuickBooks that do budgets usually don't pull QuickBooks budget data, and they force you to create a new budget in that app that doesn't necessarily connect with QuickBooks' budget. So it allows you to play with the built-in data that's in the API. It's in the budget report API portion that you guys can pull from it. So it's actually pretty interesting how you guys deconstructed that piece, because the API is actually very limited on the budget side. Chris, there's a question here about versions of QuickBooks. So it works in all of QuickBooks, including QuickBooks Ledger and including Intuit Enterprise Suite, correct?
Yeah. So absolutely. So we work across all QuickBooks versions. Except so where Spreadsheet Sync only works with advanced.
Okay. Question about pricing. So does it cost per client? Is there a bundle price for accountants that have multiple clients? How does that work?
Yep. So basically you can just proceed to our website. So essentially it's like $29, for the first company, and then there's for accounting, $5, for accounting users, and then once we get beyond 25 units per company, then it gets into the enterprise space.
Now, how does it work when you have, I have my Excel in my computer, and then I have a team member with Excel in their computer, and I have maybe a client with Excel in their computer? How does that work? Does my client need to have the software installed as well? How would that work?
So various choices. So basically, if you want to give your client a static version of this report, you can take a snapshot of it, and it will remove our formulas, and you just send him the Excel file, just on the report. You can print a PDF as well. If within your organization, you basically have multiple users, essentially here, we've got all the companies listed. You can add various users, and then you can select which companies you want to add them for, right? So some companies, we've got 40, 50, right? But not everyone, maybe you want to have access to the same company. You would add them as the user, and then you can just activate which ones you want them for. So then they would be able to. Yep.
And you don't pay per user. You only pay per client, per company, correct?
Per company. Yep. So it's unlimited users. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. And then, I think another thing that, since you last saw it, Hector, was also basically on the dashboarding side. We basically have expanded this dashboard build, which is also refreshable, which I think is something you might also enjoy. I think you haven't seen this yet. And so this is a refreshable dashboard that we use some of our summary accounts, and what we've done here, just executing. You can execute it per client. And then, so I'll just give this a moment to refresh here. And, we'll close this down. But so essentially this is also making use of standard, Excel functionality. And I'll just make this a bit smaller. So here's some, P&L items. Here's some balance sheet items. There's some comparative numbers, compared to prior month, prior year. There's various trend reports, in various categories. And these are all refreshable. But Hector, so, as you know, right, so essentially this is then driven once again off the formula concept. And now the formula is essentially referencing some summary accounts that are, very specific to Flash. But this enables, just a whole number of dashboard reports as well, and various calculations, so customers, can really customize this dashboard. They can change things, and then it's refreshable once you've changed it, or if you haven't changed anything, right, you can, just put in a new date, and you can see this passes all new fresh queries over to QBO, finds those results, update this, this Excel charts for you. And this is all standard Excel, right? So it's nothing proprietary to us. So along with ChatGPT, right, if folks don't know Excel that well, right, I mean, it's very easily changeable.
Chris, last question I have for you, and there's a lot of questions unanswered in the chat, so stick around and answer those. I'm gonna go ahead and run that polling question if people are interested in talking to the Flash Reports people. A lot of the stuff that you showed are Excel skills, and like a lot of us feel that we're really good at Excel, and then we see you zip through it, and then we go, "Oh, well, we gotta brush up on our Excel skills." What resources does Flash have? Once you get it, to not just learn how to use the software, but kind of brush up on your Excel skills in the process.
No, sure. Thank you. I'm not an Excel guru. I'm pretty much an average finance guy. So I think the big thing to just learn is essentially just how the formula works, and that's just absolute and relative cell referencing. So I think that's the most complicated part of it. The other part is just in terms of our. We've also got a YouTube channel, and on the YouTube channel there's various videos, training videos. When folks go into a trial, this little video here from Mr. Excel explains that absolute relative concept where it uses our formula. So we're looking at making it even easier, especially when folks start using other dimensions in that formula as well, like for example projects and classes and everything as well, right? So you can actually build almost like pretty nice reports, but yeah, so we're looking at even making it more simple, and obviously in the future even some AI chatbots as well, right, to help with that process.
That's awesome, Chris. I'm gonna go ahead and make the transition. Let's see. We're supposed to have Karbon on, but I don't see Chance in the list. So what we can do is maybe shift the schedule a little bit. I'm gonna try to see if I can text them. If either Alison from Basil or Valerie Heckman from OnPay it's available, we can kind of put you in.
We got OnPay next, so I know Valerie's on. Hi, Valerie. Happy New Year.
Hello. Hello. Happy New Year. I am ready to go. Let me just get my screen share up, and I can.
This is what we love, Valerie. She's ready even before she's supposed to be ready.
Thanks for jumping ahead. And
always ready to go.
Let me just do a 1 minute plug, Valerie, so you can get ready, present your screen, take your time, because I know we're calling you on deck very early on. So everyone, real quick, for our partners who are staying on at post presentation, please remember to go back to the Q&A. There's a lot of really great questions from everyone about your products and services. So Chris, you've got a lot of great questions on Flash. If anyone else stayed along prior to Chris and you're still here, Kendrick and Casey, I know that you're all doing a great job answering the questions. And Valerie, after your presentation, if you could just hang out for 10 minutes to answer the Q&A. But you are on deck. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to jump into OnPay and what it looks like to partner with us to serve your clients when it comes to payroll. For those who don't know me, hi, I'm Valerie Heckman. My role at OnPay is to build relationships in the accountant and bookkeeper and advisor community. So you may have met me at the Reframe event if you were there. And I work for OnPay. If you're unfamiliar with OnPay, we are a full-service payroll solution out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we've built a partner program to work with accountants and bookkeepers to serve your clients on payroll, whether you are doing payroll for them or referring them to a great solution, or maybe you're a little bit involved, but the clients are mostly doing their own thing. We can flex to fit your needs. So I'm going to jump in the product, but I know OnPay is new to a lot of you, so I wanted to give a little bit of a preview of what we do. Our system is designed for you and your clients to do payroll, of course. You or your client submits the hours, and then the OnPay team is going to take care of all the taxes and form filing pieces at the federal, state, and local level, and then anything else that comes up along the way as well. New hire reporting, the W-2s and 1099s at the end of the year for anyone who's paid through OnPay, corrections, any notice handling that might come up along the way, and everything is fully online, so you won't have any hosting or file management or any of that as well. And then there are a number of HR tools built in and available in the software, included in the subscription, and we've got a new HR kind of add-on launching early this year. And we also have an in-house benefits team. So if you have any clients that need help getting set up with medical, dental, and vision insurance, we've got a whole team of licensed brokers that can help with that, help them create a package that really fits their budget and their needs. And one of the things that I love most about us is we really focus on small businesses. So our team is very comfortable talking to the unique needs that small businesses have when they're exploring really all of these things. And our tools are really built with that small business in mind. I'm mostly going to focus on the payroll when I jump in. But one thing I will mention too, with that small business in mind, sometimes I get questions, well, what does that mean? We're really built for under 50 employees, but we can support your clients as they grow to a max of 500 employees on our platform. But yeah, we've really built the tools with those under 50 folks in mind. And we're kind of known for how we can configure to fit unique business needs. OnPay was born out of a family payroll business in Atlanta. Our founder went to work for his family's payroll company. And because of that, we've got a ton of experience on all of the nuanced things that different industries may need along the way, like needing to accommodate H-2A worker and 943 filings for agriculture businesses, exemptions and special fringe benefits for nonprofits or churches, tipping considerations for restaurants, and much more. And the team is always happy to dive into the details to make sure we can fit the needs of your client. And then before I pop in the product, wanted to mention that as a partner with us, you get a number of great perks. So we have a partner program. It is free for accountants and bookkeepers and advisors. And our subscriptions are $49 a month and $6 per worker per month, worker paid per month for your clients. But we also will offer you discounts or revenue share along the way. You can bill clients to OnPay, or have clients subscriptions for OnPay billed to them or billed to the firm directly, and you'll have the dashboard to manage all of those clients in one place. We also offer you a free account for your own practice for free of charge if you have one active client on us, so you can run payroll on OnPay, get a feel for it yourself. But we give you a test sandbox account as well so that you can run dummy payrolls if you're demoing to clients or you want to test something out without impacting any live pay runs. And that is kind of the high level overview. I'm going to jump into the product and show you what this looks like. Oh. All right, so
Valerie, we're going to give you a little bit of extra time because we have one of the presenters won't be able to make it, kind of a last minute issue. So I'm going to kind of slow it down a little bit so you're not rushed. I know you worked for Intuit. I know you're probably not supposed to talk bad about Intuit or anything like that, but Intuit, QuickBooks has payroll, right? So now that you're on the other side, okay, and maybe you worked in the payroll side in QuickBooks, but maybe you didn't. What would you say for people that say, you know what, I'm happy with QuickBooks payroll? Why should they consider OnPay, at least from the perspective of comparing it to the option of QuickBooks payroll?
Sure. Ooh, that's a big question. But yeah, I would say, there's a lot of payroll providers out there and everybody has their things going on. We tend to be a really good fit for the businesses that are looking for really easy, reliable, accurate payroll, and more than anything, a support team behind them. So something that we kind of hear across the board from our accountants and bookkeepers is clients aren't getting the help they need on payroll. So that's something that we're known for. I'm going to get into this a little bit more later, but to tee it up, we give everyone full service onboarding, regardless of how many employees they have or how much they're spending with us. Everyone gets the same full service onboarding experience. So what that means is we will help with setup. We'll create custom checklists for any tax items and things that need attention to get the account going. We'll also move any payroll history. So if there's wages that have already been paid in the year, we'll get that all moved over, as well as set up employee profiles so that everything is ready to go for payday. And then ongoing, everybody gets access to the same great support team. It's all US based. We've got extended weekday hours. Most of the team's in Atlanta, but we've got people in other time zones to really support you. And we really try and be hands-on with that support. And our accountants get an added layer of support as well through our partner program. So you'll have access to our partner team that's dedicated to working with accountants and bookkeepers. And that's kind of what high level. And then there's little things here and there. Sometimes we'll hear, oh, in X payroll service, we're not able to support agriculture clients, or we're getting charged hidden fees for multi-state. So multi-states included. You can do as many states as you want in our subscription pricing. We don't charge for off-cycle pay runs. So there's a lot of those when you get into kind of the service delivery pieces as well. And then some nuances in the functionality. But great question.
Okay, let's see what the product looks like.
So I'm logged in as an accountant. I'm in my firm Easy Accounting, and from the dashboard, I'll see any of my clients with upcoming payroll deadlines, and anything that the OnPay team might need me to take care of that needs attention. The companies tab will show me all of my clients on OnPay. I can assign different team members to work on different clients. This is also where I would initiate any enrollments for a new client getting set up on OnPay. I'll come back around to that a little later. And then, of course, setting up my team members. And then I can toggle down and jump into a client's payroll from here. And this brings me into the dashboard. I'll see the same thing a client would see if I give them access to OnPay, although you don't have to. If you've got clients that you're handling payroll for them, you don't have to necessarily invite them into OnPay, or you can have them really handle it and you're just an outside collaborator. From the dashboard, we'll show you anything that needs attention or hot topics. Like right now, we have some details around how we're supporting overtime and tips under the One Big Beautiful Bill. We've got functionality where you can turn that on and really track those things throughout the year. And any sort of year-end updates as well. Don't forget W-2s and 1099s, February 2nd this year, usually January 31st, but you get a little extra time this year. And then down below, I'll see the team at this client, our recent pay runs, our next run, and a calendar with the important dates. I'm just going to jump in and run a payroll. Go ahead, Hector.
That team is the number of, these are the employees that are on payroll, or these are the people that have or these are the people that have access to it? What is my team in this case?
Oh, great. So I am in a client. So these are the folks on payroll. So I could shortcut in to a worker or add a new worker from here if I wanted to. And this is configurable. You can come down and customize the dashboard. Like I said, we have some HR tools and some workflows for things like offer letters, getting W-4s and I-9s filled out and signed electronically, and some extra add-ons for org charts and other kind of HR tools for managing the team. So you can add some of that kind of stuff to this dashboard as well. I could pop into running payroll from here, or I can come to my left-hand navigation and find that. And I'm going to go into my, let's go into semi-monthly workers here. And this will bring me into running payroll. Super easy to configure along the way. If I wanted to make some changes for like an off-cycle run, I could do that. Some options to hold everything across the board. I check off my workers. I could pop into a profile if I knew I needed to make an update, add a deduction, change a salary, that kind of thing before we move forward. But then I'll pop into a given check and I can make adjustments as I go, right? I can review what's there or add additional rows, do any sort of overrides along the way. And I can toggle to my next worker. Let's stop on this one. So if I wanted to say add a one-time, pay item here, I can do so. And then we can give this employee a beginning of the year bonus. And then as I'm going through this, I can preview the check. This will show me the breakdown, of course, of the withholdings, the employer taxes, any deductions that this worker has set up.
Quick question.
And I can toggle along to the next person.
Quick question. How do you, just to kind of show the flexibility when it comes to editing a paycheck, before you issue a paycheck, how do you edit a federal withholding, for example, which is a number that could be manipulated?
Of course, yeah. So when I go under more, I could come into the tax overrides, and then I'll have a tab for federal and for state, and I can make my my overrides from here. So yes,
Okay.
I can do that as I'm running payroll, but of course I could go at the company level if I have exemptions across the board or into individual employee profiles and make those types of changes too. But this would be where I'd do it if it was a one-time thing. Yeah, state as well, and
Yeah,
then
perfect.
the memo, and then
Awesome.
preview along the way.
Now,
And then I would just,
there
oh,
are
go ahead.
some questions on the connectivity with QuickBooks. Do you
Sure.
do you have time to cover that? But before you do that, people want to ask, how do you add other benefits like IRA or employee reimbursement, like all those things?
Absolutely. So I'll start with that. So if I'm in, say, a worker's profile, I'll see kind of the full range of things I can configure for an individual employee. So including their compensation, if I needed to add additional pay items, I can set those pay items up at the company level. And of course, yes, we can map things to QuickBooks, and I'll show a little bit of that. I could schedule rate changes. I can go into my deductions, turn on preferences and things for retirement benefits or HSAs, any deductions that I have for the workers. I can come in here, expand, and override the benefit details for things like 401ks or HSAs. If you have a provider that doesn't directly integrate with OnPay, and I'll talk about integrations in a second, we can set up to facilitate the ACH payments, right? And all of that would be managed through here. And then, of course, I can set up new deductions and contributions and things from here as well. And we've got a full range of options. And our team is super hands-on when it comes to that as well. If you or your clients have questions about how something's going to work, we've got great documentation and great folks that are available to help with getting that all going. And then, of course, when you're switching over, if that's already been set up in your previous provider, if you're able to get those details into a report for us, we can, set up the employee profiles from the get-go with those things.
What's the pricing on OnPay? Are there different tiers, or how does it work?
Sure. Yeah. So it's $49 a month base, and then $6 per worker paid per month. Employees and contractors, we just add up everybody. So you have unlimited pay runs. You can do off-cycle checks, and all of that is included. And then as far as like add-ons go, we have an add-on for HR that we've been launching this month. It's rolling out to have some additional functionality. There's some things built in, and then some extra add-ons if you've got clients that want to have, more settings for provisioning and org charts and HR services and that kind of thing. And then the only other charge that we end up doing is if you want us to mail the W-2s and 1099s. We charge $10 per form for that. But the employees will have a portal that they can go in and view those electronically if you don't want to have us mail them, or you can print them out and mail them yourself.
But as a payroll company, you're not cross-selling insurance services like health insurance or workers' comp, correct?
No, we do. So we have
okay.
An in-house benefits team that can work with you. We've got a team of licensed brokers that can help find medical, dental, and vision plans. And then we do have partnerships for 401k. That's Vestwell, and I think we'll be adding another one here soon. We work with Next for workers' comp. And actually, let me go into integrations, and you can see some of this in our app directory. And then we've got other kind of partnerships and integrations for things like state tax registrations with Middesk. We have add-ons for time tracking, a lot of different tools along the way, HR services with Mineral. And then, of course, y'all are very curious how we work with the accounting solutions. We will integrate with QuickBooks Online or Xero with a direct sync. So similar to other apps you've seen over the last day and a half, where you set that up with the user ID and password and get it connected ongoing. For QuickBooks Desktop, we can do an IIF. And then really it gets mapped up. Let me toggle into a different client real quick that I know is connected to QuickBooks.
So while you go there, the question, one of the questions people ask, what about job costing? In the mapping, can you assign jobs, customer jobs and projects to the payroll?
Not at this time. That is something that we're hopefully going to roll out in the future. So today we can of course set up different locations and departments and utilize classes, but they are at the worker level. They're not allocated and itemized on the paychecks themselves, like true job costing, like you'd see in like QuickBooks Desktop Payroll. I'm hoping that that's something that we will make some changes over time with. Great question.
But you can assign it to class and locations, right?
Yes, yeah. So when I am mapping up, I can choose like in a QBO file if I want the payroll to sync in detail or summary. We'll have a journal entry for the pay run itself, and then one for the tax sweep. And I realized we got some great questions, so I didn't submit the payroll yet. So I'll show you submitting payroll and seeing kind of what the direct deposit process and all that looks like too. I'll go back.
We got 2 minutes. We
jumped ahead. That's okay. Yeah. We can sync this automatically, and then of course, when we connect these up, we can map up our chart of accounts in QuickBooks. And you have some options here. You can map things by department, or you can map things by general ledger accounts. Mapping up the different pay types, which I've got a ton of them in this test account. But what's awesome is our help resources are really great at guiding you through kind of all the different options you have, some warnings around how you're mapping up accounts payable, what types of accounts we can map to, and what my favorite piece is like what the journal entries actually look like when you bring something over if you do it summary and in detail. So these are really nice, and they map up really nicely in the bank feed.
And one of the questions here, when the journal entry comes in, it can have each employee's name. Okay, I see. Each employee's name can come in.
Yeah, so if you bring it in as detail, it'll give each employee. If you do the summary, it's just at the highest level.
I love that you use my wife's name on one of those paychecks.
Oh, that's funny.
You scroll down a little bit. The Andrea Rodriguez, that's my wife's maiden name. So,
Go figure. Small world. We did that just for you, Hector.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and make the transition here. I'm going to run the polling question for anybody that's interested on chatting with Valerie and her team when it comes to OnPay. Is there a partnership program with accountants? Do you have ADP has a partnership program? Do you guys have anything like that?
Yeah, I talked about that up front a bit. And yes, that gives you that dashboard. We do ongoing discounts or revenue share. You can bill it to the firm, bill it to the client, and we give you a free OnPay account as well. One thing I didn't get to because I didn't submit the payroll. So just to put a bow on that real quick, when we go through and we actually submit, you get a chance to review the full. Oh, I went into a different one. You get to review the paycheck, all of the details in full. We've got 2-day or 4-day lead times for direct deposit. We'll show you what's going to be pulled. We actually impound the taxes when you submit the payroll, as well as pulling for direct deposit. And we show a full preview of what that looks like and any kind of warnings along the way if it looks like there's been mistakes. So, and then a full gambit of reports as well to run. So I just wanted to tie that back up since I never submitted the pay run.
That's perfect. Carlos, you want to tee up Alison? Valerie, thank you very much for being part of Reframe and being one of our table facilitators in last year's event.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll answer questions in the chat, and I appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you, Valerie. Hi, Alison. Welcome.
Hi.
All right, everybody. We're going to be moving on to Basil. Alison will be telling us a little bit about Basil CRM.
Yep. So Basil is a practice management software. It's designed for small to medium-sized businesses. And let me turn on my camera here. And it is simple and easy to use. So let's jump right into, right into our demo here. I am sharing my screen. Hector, you can see it, correct?
We can see it.
Perfect. So this is our Basil dashboard. Just to start with, you'll notice our Basil logo in the upper left-hand corner. Our application can be white labeled, so you can upload your own custom logo as well as select your complementary color. That then displays on your sign-in page on the application as well as the notifications that go to your client. So it looks like it's your software versus our software. On the dashboard, we have some quick links that will take you to different places. We also have some charts that you can build based on what's important in your firm, and then you can pin it on your dashboard for ease of use. Okay. We'll first start on our People tab, and for us, our people are our clients. For our clients, you're able to create a client data template. This is actually double encrypted, so nobody on our end can see this information. So you can store any kind of personal information about your client. And then sharing is done at the client level. So only your team members who have access to this client will be able to see this client's data. We also have client dashboards, and client dashboards is a great way to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on with your client at any particular time. We have some quick links that will take you to different places within the application, but it's going to be a filtered view, so it'll only show you this client's information. Down below, we have a more detailed view. Now, this can be completely customizable by client, or you can build a template and apply it to all of your clients so that no matter who's coming in, if it's you or your team member, you'll see the same universal link. This is all customizable, so if you say, I don't care about notifications, but I do care about client notes, I can build it according to what's important. Okay. Moving on to our client portal. So for our clients, you're able to create a workspace. And for us, a workspace is a different group of shared users. For example, for my client, Ronald, only him and his wife are invited to personal tax, whereas his Subway store team members are invited to Subway store. Maybe they submit time off requests to me so that I can process payroll. Now, when your client users sign in to use the portal, they're only going to see what they have access to. In any one of these workspaces, we give you two default folders. We give you the external folder, which the client has access to if you choose to invite them. There is no cost for client users, so you can invite as many as you need or want to the Basil system. You also get an internal working space. This is available for you and your team to work on documents that are not yet ready to be shared with the client. In either one of these external or internal folders, it's up to you how you want to categorize and structure your documents. So you can do it by category, you can do it by year, or you can just drag and drop it directly into the external folder. Now, if your clients have access, they can come in at any time, they can self-serve, they can upload, they can download files. For the non-tech savvy clients, the people who don't want to sign up for an account or remember a username or password, we have the ability to send upload and download links to your client. This goes to their email, they click on it, and then they're automatically launched into this folder. And from there, they can upload any documents you've marked for them to upload or download files you've marked for them to download. Okay. We also have a document lock for clients. So, for example, you can tie a payment to a document. For example, your taxes, right? If you have completed their taxes, but you don't want them to have access to the document until payment is done, you can lock that document. They will see that it exists, but if the client tries to open it, it's going to tell them to make that payment and to contact you directly. Okay. Moving on to our signatures. So the benefit of an all-in-one like this is that your signatures and your signed documents live in the same place as your other client files. So you're not having to switch applications. This is our own technology, so it is unlimited, and it's included for all of your team members. So all of your team members get access to send your signatures. This is our signature table. It has date it was sent, title of the document. If I click on it, it's actually going to show me that document, folder of where it lives, who it was sent by, that status, and if it's pending, who that pending signer is. We do have templates, so if you are doing that 8879 over and over again, you can create a template, apply it once, and then it automatically gets sent to your signers. Moving on to our task system. So this is what we call a Kanban board. By default, we give you 3 stages: not started, in progress, and completed. However, you can build your board according to your actual workflow. So maybe between in progress, it goes to manager's review, then it goes to client review. You can build those stages. For our tasks, let me just show you one here. For our tasks, when you're working on them, We have built-in timers so you can track your time. We have the ability to attach documents. So maybe you want to attach like a bank statement. If you're doing some kind of reconciliation, you can do that. And then we have a fully functioning log time. So when you do log your time, it time and date stamps it. We also have an activity log of when things are moving. So you can always go back after the fact to kind of see what happened with that task. And then we have a comment section. So maybe you want to at your team members if it's ready for review, or you have a question, or you want to save a note for yourself, you can always add it in the comments. So that's an individual task. Now we also have projects, which is a group of tasks all relating to each other. For example, like a payroll process where it's a 7-step process, or even a tax return process. So for our projects, you're able to create workflows, meaning task number 1 has to be done before task number 2 is available to be worked on. You can even set repetition cycles. So if it is like a payroll cycle and you want those tasks to continuously create itself and assigned to the team members, you can set the repetition cycle, and then our system automatically creates those tasks on the repetition cycle. We also have Cora. So Cora is our smart assistant. She follows up with your task owners so that your tasks are completed in a timely manner. So for this project, these are all the different tasks. I am able to create my own tasks. So these are not out of the box, anything specific to your firm. Everything is workflow based, right? So if you have a particular task within your workflow, you can create that there. And then as it's being completed, your team members, if they are assigned, they're automatically going to get in-app notifications as well as email notifications, depending on their settings. Okay. So I showed you time tracking in our tasks. We also have a time tracking ability in our timesheets. So we have different categories that you're able to build out. And instead of creating a task every time you wanted to log your time, we have the ability to create different categories, all built by you. You get to select if they're billable or non-billable, and you can add it as a quick add to easily track your time. We also have a calendar function. This calendar function will allow you to schedule your tasks as well as in-office events. You can see your calendar as well as your team members' calendar. And then we also have chat. So our chat function will allow you to send individual chats as well as group chats. So you can have all of your team members in a client's chat so everybody's in the know of what's being asked of the client, whether they're out of office. The next person can kind of step in. We also have templates for chat that will allow you to create a template once, mass apply it to your client users, and then each person gets their own individual chat. This is secure and encrypted, so it will require your client users to sign in to send and receive chats, but it does send an email notification as every time a chat is ready for your client user. We also have an email integration that's very similar to this. This email integration is with Outlook and Gmail. We bring your email into the Basil system. You can create templates. You can mass apply that template and send it to your client user so each person gets their own individual email as well. We have invoicing. So if you are tracking your time in our tasks or our timesheets, we're able to pull that time for you. We multiply it by the rate. Each of your team members can have different rates depending on who you're dealing with. We also have service-based billing. So if you are doing like a cleanup project, you are able to multiply it based on that service. We also have fixed items. Let me show you what a bill looks like here. So this is one of my fixed items. I have a silver package. With our billing, we have an integration with QuickBooks Online as well as Stripe. So you can push this to either one of those applications to collect the payment. And then once you push it, we do have a webhook. So once that is paid on through QuickBooks Online or Stripe, it gets sent back to Basil so we can display that. Moving forward, we also have a report section. So we do give you some out-of-the-box reports. However, we also give you access to a report builder, and our report builder takes everything that's in the Basil system and turns it into an object. So here I'm able to build my own custom reports based on what's important in my firm. I build it once, I save it, and then going forward, I can always pull from it whenever I need to view that information. Finally, we have our form system. Our forms is a great way to gather information from our clients. We recommend a different form for each use case, and you do get unlimited forms. Let me show you what it looks like here. With our forms, we have our form fields over to our left. I can drag and drop my form to build it. I get to customize the label name. I can change the order if I wanted to. We have different fields like yes, no questionnaires. We have document upload. Now, the great thing about our forms is it can be sent to anybody. They don't have to live in our Basil system. So maybe you're talking to a prospect and you just want to get some information so you can give our understanding of the business that they want from you. You can build a form for that, send it to them via email. They can fill it out on their phone, on their iPad, and it automatically gets sent to you, including those documents if you do include them. So that is just about what I have to share for you. And I do want to end with our value prop. So our value is there is no minimum number of seats. So we can sell to one, we can sell to many. With our application, we have designed it simple, easy to use. However, our support is here any step of the way. We have unlimited training and support, and that not only covers you and your team, but it also covers your client user. So if your client users are trying to sign the 8879, they're not tech savvy, they don't understand it, instead of calling you, they call us directly. We can share their screen, help them walk through the process. In addition to that, our pricing is straightforward. So our pricing is $30 a month a team member, $300 a year team member, so either or. If you do select that annual plan, you do get a little bit of savings. But that's all I have for the demo. I think I made it in time.
No, you did. And I have a lot of questions. So
Okay.
pricing, does it cost per client, per user? What is the minimum for small firms? Can you walk us through the pricing?
Yep, $30 a month a team member. So the team member is going to be on the accountant side, or $300 a year per team member. They get access to all the features. There is no cost for client user, so you can invite as many as you need or want to.
Okay. What would you say? Okay, so there's a question specifically about billable time. So when you're tracking billable time, does it flow into a QuickBooks Online timesheet?
It does not flow into a timesheet. No.
Okay. And so what's the so with Basil, when you track billable time, it is for the purpose of you invoicing the customer through Basil for those that charge by the hour, correct? That's the purpose of tracking it?
It could be. So some people just want to know where their time is going, so they track it informally. So it can be either for business purposes or it can be for billing if you're doing like a cleanup project.
Okay. Okay, so another question that we have here is chat. Does it have chat between team members, chat between accountant and client? Like, how does the chat work?
Both. So we can do chat with team members via one-to-one or group chats with team members. And then we can also do chat with client users, one-to-one or group chats.
Okay. Is there a phone app for Basil?
Yes, we do have a mobile app.
Do you have any screenshots? Do you have any screenshots on that?
I don't have screenshots on that, unfortunately. But contact us after this, right? Contact us after this. We can talk about your workflows. We can talk about your specific issue that you're trying to solve. We can show you in a slower manner.
Okay, no problem. For people that don't have practice management software and they're smaller firms, what would you say to them in terms of easing their way into Basil?
Yeah, so our design is simple. We don't want you to have to hire a consultant to set up your account and to really manage your account. So we'll sell to one-person firms. We love one-person firms. They have great ideas. They come to us. I didn't mention this, but we are the same company as QBox. So we've been in the accounting industry for a very long time. We, just like with QBox, right? We have one-person firms, no problem. Our training and support covers one-person firms. It doesn't matter your spend. We cover your client users. Doesn't matter your spend. So if you're looking for a small, simple way to get organized to manage your firm, this is a great starting point for you.
Okay, for the document signature, does it do QBA? I mean,
KBA.
KBA,
yes.
sorry, KBA.
Yes. So we do have KBA. We do partner with LexisNexis, so it's $1.50 per signer. But that if you are doing any kind of engagement letters, it's not needed and it's free.
Okay, this is a very tough one. Okay, so we had Keeper, we had TaxDome, and we didn't have a demo for Karbon, but Karbon was part of the the original set of demos we were going to do. If we don't have to talk about any of them, but what would you say is what makes Basil different than competing products?
Ease of use.
Okay.
Ease of use, no minimum seats, support, onboarding, training, everything is available. We are US based for our support team. So you give us a call, you're talking to a live person in the US.
Amazing. I think we can move on to the polling question. So folks, if you're interested on getting a one-on-one demo, comparing it with your current system, learning more information, pricing features, whatever, with Alison and the team over at Basil, make sure you answer that polling question. Alison, you did a great job and on time.
Thanks.
All right. Carlos, you want to show the Karbon slide real quick up, if you don't mind?
Sure. 1 second, please.
Yeah. Actually, I could do it. Might be faster. There we go. Okay. So we had a last minute hang up with the who we hope the person is okay, the person that was going to the demo. We have a direct contact over at Karbon, Chance Johnson. He was at the Reframe event. If you're looking for practice management software, that's a bit like Alison said. We don't have the person from Karbon to do their value proposition, but that's maybe more on the complex side with much larger firms. I think that's where Karbon truly has their value proposition. I'm just going to run a quick poll, just in case any of you were interested on talking to anyone from Karbon. Just go ahead and answer whether or not you want somebody to reach out to you. Again, I don't have a pitch for Karbon because I've never used it in my practice. One thing I will say from my experience is Karbon has been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. Their team is very, very experienced. I know the one thing that was their claim to fame was what they call the triage system. They're one of the first practice management softwares that integrates with email. And the idea was that most of the requests come through email, and Karbon helps you convert that email into a task, into a project. So if we have anybody in the live chat that uses Karbon that has anything interesting to say about it, I'll say it verbally, since we didn't get a chance to do a full demo. So any Karbon users here, just kind of drop a one-liner in terms of why you like Karbon. So we have that polling question up, and then we'll send the information over to Chance, and then when he gets a chance, no pun intended, he will reach out to you guys. Okay. All right, that's good. Great. Good pivot, Carlos. Again, we're able to do something about last minute change up there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that polling question. And I'm going to do, just give me 1 second, because literally, Carlos, do you mind, because I'm having a keyboard issue, do you mind showing the next screen that we have that shows all the bronze sponsors? Yeah. Okay, so I'll talk about these really quick. So we had 4 additional sponsors at the Reframe event: nreiff, Avalara, Merrill Lynch, a particular financial advisor from Merrill Lynch, Andres, and Mercury. So I'll talk about them really quick. So nreiff is, in my experience, probably one of the best and most powerful construction app for QuickBooks. So if you're using QuickBooks Online and you feel QuickBooks Online falls way short in the construction features, you can add on bolt-on nreiff, have complete construction management, does all the construction accounting, work in process, percentage of completion, lump sum projects. I mean, if it has to do with construction, these guys know what they're doing, and it's really, really advanced. Avalara is probably the best known brand in the accounting world for managing complicated sales tax issues. So if you have a client that has e-commerce, multi-state, a lot of complexities when it comes with sales tax, you want to bolt on or add on Avalara to it. All the contacts are direct contact information. All those people are personal friends of mine, friends of Carlos and the brand. So you can contact them directly and get a red carpet treatment or white glove treatment, whatever they call it. Merrill Lynch, obviously, a lot of people know that bank. Merrill, this is one of the financial advisors that I have worked with for years. Carlos has also worked with Andres for years. I totally trust them. If you need any help with, getting your clients set up with 401ks and retirement plans and just financial advice in general, strongly recommend to contact Andres. And then Mercury is one of those up and coming digital banks. And I don't know, they're not supposed to call themselves a bank. They're a financial technology company, right? So alternative to Bank of America, Chase, all that stuff. We have Mercury. You may have heard of Relay. There's a couple of ones that are out there where Mercury is a friend of the brand because they came and they sponsored Reframe last year, and our direct contact person is Laura Clean. So I'm going to run a quick polling question just in case any of these four call your attention, and you're like, you know what? I would love to know more information about one of them in particular. So I'll run that polling question there, and then we'll send the information directly to them. And of course, there'll be the people saying, what about if I want more than one? Well, then we got all the emails in there. You can just email them proactively. But if you answer yes to any of these, we'll let them know that you're interested on chatting up with them and learning more about their services. So I'll leave that polling question up. Carlos, are there any pending questions in the chat that you want to start answering?
Mostly our technology questions, but I think overall, not really.
Okay. So Anna is answering the question about Karbon, saying that it's very, very great and amazing, but it's complex. If you're a smaller firm, it probably won't work as best. Take a look at Keeper and Basil and that sort of thing. So that's a good point. Yeah. So I think that Karbon has really found its positioning into that larger mid-size firm. And I think Basil is doing a really good job. Alison did a good job at positioning as the best, just getting started firm, and kind of grow from there. Because a lot of these other practice management software like TaxDome, which we use, it takes a couple of months to kind of learn how to use everything that's around it. So a lot of folks get overwhelmed with so many features, and they want just something that's very simple. That's where, I think Basil is probably a really good one. With Karbon, you have to kind of have an implementation team. And with TaxDome and Keeper, it's kind of like in the middle. You do need to spend some time for implementation. So I'll go ahead and close that polling question that we had up here. Thank you very much. And then, Carlos, we actually have 15 minutes to answer any questions. And we're going to have one more polling question towards the end. So we'll be able to answer any questions that people may have about any of the technologies that we talked about yesterday, day 1 and day 2. You can ask me directly, personal experiences. We'll have it in the live chat. And then Carlos, we'll have people asking questions about that. Maybe talk a little bit about the Reframe Society, go inside of the portal and kind of show people the resources that we have available there.
Yeah, sure. So let me welcome you to our Reframe Society. So for those of you who are, maybe have been part of a community, or have never been part of an online community, Hector and I started the Reframe Society 2 or 3 years ago. And the mission was really to help the accounting profession work together towards elevating our skill set, really changing the narrative of the profession, trying to combat things like pricing, mindset, communication, how to improve your business model, how to network with like-minded folks, how to leverage technology so that you can improve your business service offerings and your client's experience. And so what we've done is pretty much housed all of this information into one place where you can chat with fellow accounting professionals and learn about key topics that are important to you, whether it's learning how to be a better coach, how to build better trust with clients, how to be clearer in communicating and setting boundaries, how to overcome maybe any mindset challenges that you're running with, and how to improve your communication, how to price better. Just recently, Hector and I actually just launched our 10-hour pricing course, which basically has, combined 20 years of our experience with our combined favorite authors and heroes that helped us really put together specific actionable content that goes into very, very specific concepts, not only that you can learn, implement, practice, but actually put the theory into practice and understand the difference between cost, price, and value, how to communicate your value better to clients, how to introduce price increases to existing clients. And we know that at the source of a lot of the problems that firm owners struggle with. Most of the reasons have to do with how we're pricing our clients, whether it's we're giving away the work and we're not charging for it. Clients are coming up to us and giving us scope creep, or maybe, clients, we took on clients from 10, 15 years ago and we feel really weird about raising our prices because they were there for us when we started. And how could I do that to them? And there's this weird emotional connection to it. And so we help folks really navigate some of those limitations that you might be going through. And what I love about this community, there's, I think, Hector, already about 35 who are in our master program this year. And we've got several that are part of the Learn program, which is the self-paced. But being part of the master program is that we're going to have scheduled monthly mastermind calls where we get to talk about this. Like, consider this monthly therapy with fellow accounting professionals, venting about the similar issues they're going through. Folks who are either solopreneurs or practice owners that have small teams, anywhere between 2 team members all the way through 20 team members, that are sharing very relevant things to your world. And it helps you really understand what's somebody else doing in my world that maybe I can learn from that could be useful for me so that I could take my firm and my practice to the next level. So I think there's a lot of value in there, Hector. I don't know if I missed anything else, but I know that we upload, I think, 2 hours every month of content, just of educational content and a lot of practical stuff around firm ownership.
Gary asked a really good question that I think is worth to spend maybe the last 5 minutes on, which is, are there any alternatives to QuickBooks? Does anybody have any experience with digits? And I'd actually like to have an open conversation about that and get some comments and feedback. But before that, Carlos, can you open up my favorite part of the Reframe program, which is the Reframing Your Pricing course? I want people to see that just because, like, if there was one thing that Carlos and I have spent a significant amount of time researching, studying, putting to practice, experimenting with, building an entire conference around it, drawing the learnings from it, grabbing the AI summaries from all the keynote speeches, getting feedback from other accountants and how they and how they price. It's summarized in this pricing course. So I want you to just open any one of those lessons, and so people can kind of see what's in there. So every lesson is 30, 40 minutes. Some are shorter depending on the context, where I go deep, step by step, how you can implement a particular pricing strategy. So whether it's the 12 T's, whether it's the concentric circles, whether it's the payroll to revenue formula. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has to do with that, and that's all part of the mastermind program. So I wanted to kind of pitch that because Carlos and I spent a considerable amount of time building this content, and I think this is my, what do you call it, magna opus, our peak of the best content that we have created. So Carlos, you can skip out of that if you want to. I went ahead and run one more polling question. And I kind of want to understand, from your perspective, if you were to join a paid community like Reframe Society, and Carlos and I are always looking to improve, what Reframe means to the accounting world. What is it that you find most valuable? So I got the polling question up, and as soon as I'm done with this polling question, I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar with this discussion. A very good question. Some people are talking about, there's so many people saying they don't like QuickBooks because of X, or they don't like QuickBooks for Y. And then what is the alternative to QuickBooks? Which I don't have the answer for, but I like to have a quick discussion around it, and I'll monitor the chat and kind of see how everybody feels around that. It's not every day that we have hundreds and hundreds of accounting professionals all in one place, kind of discussing how to move the profession forward. So we'll go ahead and close the polling question. Please answer how you feel about a society. Okay. So let me open up, Carlos. I'm going to share my screen, and let's open up this. So there's a couple of apps out there that I think are making noise when it comes to the potential competitors to QuickBooks Online. One of them is Digits. I believe the other one is called Kick Accounting or something like that. And I've just recently heard about Kick this one right here, self-driving bookkeeping. The reason why we recently heard about Kick is because I believe one of the investors on this is OpenAI. So that sounds interesting. Where OpenAI, the sort of godfather of modern AI, it's investing in this. I find this to be interesting. Another one that seems to be making some noise is one called Puzzle, puzzle.io. And again, I do not use any of these, so I cannot speak intelligently about any of these. I'm just kind of like letting you know what's out there, because I think if you're really looking for an alternative, or at least to have a backup plan, I think that one of the things that you have to consider is, doing actual in-depth demos to all of these. You might, I think, realistically speaking, to actually truly evaluate this, you almost have to run an entire client's accounting in parallel to QuickBooks and kind of go through the experience. Okay, what does bank feeds look like? What does the AI look like? A lot of these companies, they advertise AI first. So you look, Digits is going to advertise AI first. Look, Digits AI, like it's even like it's in its name. Kick, it says self-driving. It doesn't have the word AI right there front and center, but then it has the word autopilot. So I think that sort of automation, look at Puzzle, AI that's in there. And I'm looking at these companies that are within that $50 to $100 a month range, right? Like I'm not looking at, companies that are way in a whole different category, like NetSuite and that sort of thing, or Microsoft Great Plains and all that stuff. So I'd like to know from you guys in the chat, do you have experience with any of these alternative to QuickBooks, and what comments do you have about it, any positive or negative? But like Roxanne says, QBO does need a competitor. Now I'm a major shareholder of Intuit, so obviously I like the moat that QuickBooks has created. I mean, Intuit has created around them. So as an investor, I love the concept of investing in a company that has no competitors. But the reason why I think it's healthy for companies like QuickBooks to have competition is, well, number one, so they don't like toy around with their customers, right? So I think that once they know they could lose a customer, I think it happens to us too as practitioners. When we know we could lose a customers, we're gonna up our game in customer service, on how we serve them, on innovation, all of those things. The second thing is, a lot of times when a competitor comes along, they start doing different approaches to reports, different approaches to data entry, different approaches to UI. And then the competitors start paying attention. And usually I like when there's a battle towards excellence, not a battle towards increasing prices and adding no value, which I think is kind of the biggest challenge that we have anytime we have software that's kind of feels like a monopoly. It feels like there's only price increases but no value increase. Although QuickBooks has done an incredible job at adding new features, but I think it's this lack of a real competitor that really it just naturally stagnates the leading company in innovation. It happens in politics too, right? Like the incumbent, when they live in a district that's mostly pro their party or whatever, they don't do much. Like they just kind of stay there. Where the ones that want to kind of enter that territory and compete, they're a little bit louder and sort of more innovative on their approach on how they want to serve their constituency. So I think we have kind of a similar challenge in the QuickBooks world. It's just way too big, way too powerful. And again, if any of you have used Puzzle, Kick, or Digits, I would love to know what you feel. Like the one I'm mostly excited, particularly for Digits, and I have never used it. And full disclosure, I've seen it. And a couple of years ago, I saw the reports version of Digits, which is what connects to QuickBooks Online and shows reports. But I'm excited because at least from their advertising and the amount of money they're investing in building relationships with accountants, I've seen them. They're doing tours. They're visiting different cities. I think I'm not sure if Digits will replace QuickBooks or will be a worthy competitor, but at least the energy feels there. So I would love to know if you think it'll be worth it to maybe put up a webinar just on this. Like, should I reach out to them and see, hey guys, do you want me to host a webinar for this community? And like, not a sales pitch, like actually compare feature by feature with QuickBooks. Is it worth evaluating, so to speak? So it looks like almost everybody here in the chat just uses QuickBooks, and some people, I guess it looks like they use Xero and Wave, but it doesn't seem like anybody here, and we have hundreds of people live, have actually said, hey, I actually use a true competitor to QuickBooks. It feels like QuickBooks kind of controls the space, unfortunately. So yeah, again, I've as a stockholder, I love that QuickBooks doesn't have a real competitor. As a user and as a business owner and as a person that's thirsty for innovation, I would love to see some competition kind of like push, the incumbent into like innovating and making better solutions for our world. Okay, so Carolyn says, I've heard that Digits works really well, but not so much for construction and job costing. Okay, very good. Somebody says, will there be a RightTool extension for Digits? I don't know. I haven't even considered that. One thing I will mention, and for those RightTool users, is that they will never, it looks like there will never be a Xero version, a RightTool for Xero, because Xero recently changed their terms, and this allows the use of any extensions to work alongside with Xero. So like any chances that Xero had to get at least my eyeballs, they're completely gone, right? So I would never even look at Xero, consider it, based on the fact that they proactively will block the innovation that companies like RightTool can bring. And at least for the time being, QuickBooks hasn't blocked it. Who knows if QuickBooks will follow suit? Hopefully not. Crossing my fingers. These guys don't go that route. But Xero proactively said, hey, no extensions are allowed. So anyway, yeah, so it looks like, okay, so somebody says that they're using Kick and they love it. Someone says, I would love to see how Kick compares. Now, one thing I'll tell you is, particularly Kick, I literally just heard about this like yesterday. So like I am going to go out on a limb that Kick is probably going to be, even though the screenshots look beautiful, it's probably going to be today leagues and leagues behind anyone else, just because I don't believe that someone that literally just started in the market somehow understands how accountants work and what small businesses need. So I'm not sure if, I'm open-minded to see what Kick can do, but I'm not sure that's going to be the solution. Okay, cool. Okay, Cindy makes a really good point, says where QuickBooks dominates is how they integrate with other softwares. I think that's a really powerful thing. I think if someone's going to start a software company today, first thing you want to do, make sure you integrate with everything. Second, make sure that all the banks connect to it. So that's a really good point. Carlos, I'll let you wrap it up. We're like right on top of the hour.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been a wonderful success. We want to appreciate and thank all of the experienced partners that came on and shared their demos with their software solutions. And for you being part of the Reframe community and continuing to support us and our mission to help elevate the accounting profession. And stay tuned. Hector and I will continue to be doing some more educational webinars, whether it's on technology or around the profession itself. And then, of course, we'll be mentioning more details about our upcoming annual Reframe event, which is the conference that we put together. And we're excited to share more with you and wishing you a very successful 2026 tax season and year overall.